that, and I got that back. I mean, it's.
Joy, can you hear me?
Ugh.
It's just been so crazy.
So this is supposedly the agenda.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sure, from here.
Joy, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Joy, I'm not seeing where I can share my screen for my PowerPoint.
Be able to share when the time comes.
Okay, thank you.
I have to suck them.
Do it. Do it.
Practice. Right.
Oh, so I leave home my own bed. That's fine. It's live in Boise.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh, that was
I don't know what I
pleasant.
would have done today, you know.
Did we on speak? Okay. Hey, Lisa. So if you have a question or something, just speak up and we'll repeat it. Okay, thank you. Okay, well, it's that time. We appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for coming and being with us. Commissioners, thank you for your time and effort. We do have Commissioner Paulus is with us. She's right here. You can see her picture. So we might have to do a little bit of relay, but she is here. She's having a hard time getting online. So, but thank you, commissioners and director and Karen, our attorney here. We appreciate all of that you do. So let's go ahead and get started. We have the commission work, our regular meeting minutes from October 9th. Is there any corrections or additions or motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Director's report.
Commissioners, so if you don't live in the Treasure Valley, welcome to our strangely warm climate. But I think we can all agree we don't want crazy amount of snow while we're all traveling. Yeah, we have been quite busy with the commission. I wanted to begin with introductions for new team members. So we have been onboarding these two for the past few weeks, and they have been an incredible addition to our team. So we have Monique Bossy. She's joining us as a program manager. She comes from a background in education and community partnership work. She values relationship building and is looking forward to supporting charter schools through collaboration and continuing the commission's mission. Then we have Brian Tillinger joining us as our finance program manager with his experience in financial oversight, regulatory compliance, and a career in the U.S. Coast Guard in public sector finance, among others. He's already begun to enhance our financial review processes and strengthen our fiscal accountability. And we're just glad to have him on. So.
Welcome.
We have been very busy with our annual performance reports. Our first drafts have been out to schools, and we're working with questions and revisions and additional data analysis to make those as best as we can before we have those out in public. We have been, as we go, updating our internal processes where appropriate to keep them relevant to current code and as efficient as possible. So we're constantly learning and updating, and we appreciate feedback we've gotten from our schools and other constituents in regards to how we can serve better. We have a couple of updates from some schools that I thought would be important to let you guys know. Project Impact STEM, also known as PI STEM, their board Tuesday evening voted to not open enrollment for the next school year, so they will be closing at the end of the spring semester. They are on our agenda today, but will not be present. We are expecting any day now a relinquishment for the Dry Creek Charter team. So they were approved in June. Their performance certificate was executed in June of 2023. They have had issues with facilities and financing. They've determined that they will not open. So I've asked for a letter of relinquishment from their board, and we'll be receiving that soon for you guys to accept, probably at the next commission meeting. The increased charter support program through the Idaho Department of Education. We do have a new school choice coordinator, Stacy. She's with us today. She is now helping coordinate that program from the state. We have our 7 schools participating, 3 returning, and then 4 new. All schools are engaged in board and administrator capacity building. They all have literacy and math goals. Most are partnering with Dr. Murray at Flashbar. And there's strategic planning underway with a couple of the participants as well. All sites have been visited by Dr. Mary DeRossi, and there are monthly cohort calls currently ongoing. They are receiving consulting supports that include board administrative relations, literacy, math, and special education. You do have a copy of this in your folders because I know it's fine print. But this is a representation of our budget as of November. The table shows that we are spending from July through November. These are the first 5 months of fiscal year 26, or about 42% of the year. We removed one statewide entry that you see on here, which is the $300,000 SCO statutory transfer, because that's not IPCSC activity. Once removed, our year-to-date expenditures total $182,000. This represents roughly 1/3 of our true annual projected spending, which means we are spending below pace at this point in the fiscal year. Personnel and operating costs are stable. There are no unplanned expenditures, and there are no areas of concern at this moment. Overall, the commission remains in a strong fiscal position as we head to the second half of the fiscal year. And you do have that copy there, so. I know this was really fast and furious, but do you have any questions, commissioners?
Any questions, commissioners?
Thank you.
All right.
Great report, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next item on our agenda is a reconsideration of charter application after an appeal dismissed and remanded it back to the commission. That's for Trailhead Virtual Preparatory Academy. Why don't we, if whoever is going to participate, would you like to come up?
Trailhead Virtual Preparatory Academy applied to the Idaho Public Charter School Commission in August of 2024 to establish a statewide K-12 virtual school in partnership with Excel Education. After initial and revised evaluations identified concerns with student demand, financial projections, and program readiness, the commission held a hearing on December 12, 2024. At the hearing, the commission motioned to take no action and have Trailhead come back to the commission at a later date with additional information. During the commission's April 10, 2025 meeting, Trailhead presented additional information. Following deliberation, the commission denied the application based on the likelihood of low success from budgetary and innovative standpoints. Trailhead appealed under Idaho Code 33-5205, Section 6, arguing that innovation is not a statutory approval standard and that its financial risk-sharing agreement should have been favorably considered. On August 29, 2025, a hearing officer with the Office of Administrative Hearings heard oral argument. The hearing officer raised questions during oral argument, and a recess by the parties was requested. During that recess, the parties agreed to dismiss the appeal and remand the matter back to the commission for further proceedings. Since the application was remanded back to the commission, the Trailhead team will not be presenting a new charter application at today's meeting. Instead, they will address the two reasons cited by the commission for its denial, budgetary and innovative concerns, in hopes of providing clarification and supporting materials for the commission's reconsideration of their application. The recommendation is based on several factors demonstrating the school's readiness and alignment with state expectations. The model being presented connects CTE-focused content and students to statewide and supports high school credentialing, while Idaho-specific partnerships are planned to strengthen student pathways. The school intends to employ Idaho-certified educators, and according to what has been presented, all instructional content will be aligned with Idaho standards. Additionally, based on Trailhead's information and the IPCSC staff's research, statewide enrollment in virtual public charter schools has grown over the past 2 years, indicating continued demand for this type of educational option. It is recommended that the commission approve Trailhead Virtual Preparatory Academy initial application for a 6-year charter pursuant to Idaho statute section 335205 with conditions listed below to be incorporated into the performance certificate and to be in effect for the first 12 months of the performance period. One, Trailhead shall submit quarterly enrollment reports to the commission. Trailhead shall submit its regular quarterly financials to the commission that include a balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow. And Trailhead shall make a presentation to the commission covering enrollment, finances, and student performance at the conclusion of the first year of school operations.
Okay, welcome. We appreciate you being back here. Thank you, Director, for those remarks. If you'd like to introduce yourself so we get your name and your position on the record, we appreciate it. Then go ahead with whatever you'd like to present to start with. Yes, Chris will start.
Sure, I'm the attorney for the school.
Sonia Howerton, the chairman of the board.
Fort Austin Meyer, board member.
Karen McGee, board member. And online, we've got Don Lynn.
Hello, my name is Don Lynn and I am the board treasurer.
Chairman, I'd also note that Cody Claver with Excel is here as well. He's sitting behind us.
He's scared to come up.
Yeah. So he's available if there's questions about Excel. I mean, he can come help answer those, but I just want to make sure everybody knew that he was here too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We appreciate him being here.
I might start briefly. I appreciate Director Burke's introduction. We fully support her staff report. We think it accurately describes kind of where we are and how we've gotten here. I'll admit the appeal process was not what we expected. I think there's a room for another conversation down the road about how to improve that. When we rewrote the charter law a year and a half ago, somebody thought this would be great. We'll just put it with the Office of Administrative Hearings where everything else goes. I don't think we really communicated very well with them how this is supposed to work. And part of the reason why this got remanded is because they were intending to do a whole new hearing. Basically reject everything the commission had done, take all new evidence, and then make a decision whether or not to approve the charter or not approve the charter. We as a group weren't real comfortable with that. I think the attorneys representing the commission also weren't comfortable with that. And so that's what kind of resulted in this. Can we step back, maybe mediate a little bit, talk through it, come back in front of the commission and see how we do. We haven't totally given up our right to appeal. So, depending on, how things go, we may continue that process, however that looks. But anyway, that's how we got here. As Director Burke indicated, there's, 2 issues that we were focused on in the denial, were basically innovation and finances. It's our position that innovation really isn't a standard that the commission uses. It's not in statute. There's not a statutory definition or standard for innovation. Obviously there is for finances, but the charter law also makes it clear that if a school, specifically a virtual school, has an agreement with kind of a service provider that is going to guarantee that their finances are the black, should be looked upon favorably. It's also very specific that a virtual school shall be deemed financially sufficient if there's an agreement that requires an educational service provider to assume the virtual school's financial risk. So from our perspective, that's what we have. We have an agreement with Excel. They've said they will make sure the school doesn't run the red. And under Idaho law, that should be sufficient. It should indicate that the school's, financially sufficient. As Director Burke also indicated, we think some of the numbers that were presented on virtual school enrollment, were maybe incomplete last time we were here. The initial number that was used for virtual school enrollment was used during the COVID year, when virtual schools everywhere skyrocketed. And then we took that as like the trend, and then said, well, since that time, we've lost a couple thousand students in enrollment. The reality is, if you go back one more year to 2019, the trend is up other than that giant spike, and it's continued to go up since then. That's just talking about the schools that are within your portfolio. Schools, the virtual schools outside your portfolio that are huge. In fact, I think one school on its own is probably bigger than your entire portfolio. We're not comparing with them. They kind of do their own thing. It's a school district based, virtual school, but we do feel like there is still continuing demand. Parents are still choosing, virtual education options. And we think a new one, will be, especially one that's CTE based and it's kind of a K-12 model, is something that parents will be interested in and want to enroll. So I guess kind of just with that initial background, obviously the experts are to my left here. They can tell you everything you want to know about the school, but want to just kind of lay that kind of foundation and groundwork, because we believe that we've done what we need to do to get them to go for a charter. So I'll pause there. Sonia, I don't know if you've got anything to add, or if we can just stand for questions.
We did prepare a couple of slides, because since the Office of Administrative Hearings meeting, the board, thank you so much, Rachel. And much gratitude to Rachel. She's been amazing, and we've enjoyed all of our conversations and working with her. But we have a resilient and committed board that didn't stop and continue to look for opportunities and what we needed to do as a board to move forward. We had additional conversations with Excel as a partner with us to talk about finances and what exactly does it look like for Excel to manage finances for a school. And obviously we will scale based on enrollment with a commitment to focus on the success for our students and for the success of our staff that we intend to hire for our Idaho educators, but all focused on the success for our students, and a commitment around creating an environment that is committed to providing that support for our students and based on enrollment. And with a model that is variable based with limited fixed expenses, that it will be scalable and adjustable adjusted based on enrollment. Looking specifically at the career technical education pathways that we intend to focus on that were highlighted within our application. We intend to focus specifically on information technology, health sciences, and agriculture specifically because these are key indicators and key industries within the state of Idaho. We have not stopped in our pursuit towards looking at what's in the best interest for Idaho, with Idaho values, with Idaho commitment to the industries and the sectors within Idaho for employment opportunities for our students and for our graduates. So we've identified all the different regional areas within the state, the industries and the businesses that we have already begun to reach out to build partnerships with so that our students are connected. And as we are working towards those CTE pathways, that our students are gaining relevant certificates that are accessible for immediate career involvement post-graduation and for success for the students, whether or not they choose to go directly into a career or even into secondary, post-secondary education. We believe that we have an innovative model with a CTE focus that is all centered around the student's experience and the ecosystem that we want for our students to be successful. With digital simulations, community engagement, career technical, student organizations, instructional support, and hands-on learning opportunities, all built within our curriculum that start even in the younger grades, that we're looking at elementary students and beginning to have those conversations about career awareness and education and an increased focus on that career technical education for our students, of course, as they progress into middle school and into high school. So with that, we would pause for questions.
Any questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Please.
I just really appreciate that thorough explanation, so thank you.
Pretty quiet.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
just, I will be abstaining from the discussion and the voting on Trailhead.
Okay, thank you. And Miss Lisa?
Sure, we're still.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there you are. Any questions, Commissioner Paulus?
I do not. Thank you, though, for your explanations.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
No, I have some comments. No
Okay.
questions. I remain concerned about this. I appreciate the fact that the staff and the applicants have worked to try and alleviate some of those. Their contractor has 4 virtual schools in the West, one in Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, and Arizona. Add one in Idaho, as we all know, at the Idaho Falls School District from 23 to 24. It's a 5-year contract with the contractor and the school district, and after the first year, that contractor simply canceled the contract and walked away. Left 203 students hanging with no, having to find some other virtual school. And their explanation was operational and financial. And that concerns me that and I'm a businessman, so I appreciate the fact you gotta make money. But if that's the driving force here, I think it's about education and not about money. So I have a hard time supporting this based on that and the original concerns that I had.
Okay. Do we?
We can comment on that.
Please.
But Joey can probably speak more to this, but well, I guess the first thing is I would say Excel is focused on kids. I recognize that the public statement was it was operational financial issues. I guess 2 things. This wasn't really an Excel school. Idaho Falls contracted with Excel to help provide a virtual program for Idaho Falls. So it's different than what we're trying to do here. We've agreed to kind of, Excel has agreed, I should say we, has agreed to kind of keep things at a low level without trying to throw people under the bus. But it wasn't because Excel was having difficulty on the operational and financial side. It was more, they had an arrangement with Idaho Falls to begin with, and then that changed when there was new leadership at Idaho Falls, and Excel says we're not going to do the same. Since we're in a public meeting, I don't want to get into a whole lot more detail about kind of that interaction, but I think we need to be careful that it's not an Excel issue really just to throw up their hands after years like we're leaving because we're not making enough money. It was, much more a relationship issue with Idaho Falls that dealt with those specific issues. Excel was all in. They wanted to help educate those kids in Idaho Falls. They're all in here. They've got, programs throughout the country. We've identified some that are in our neighboring states. But they're, they aren't in it just for the money. And I realize that sometimes when schools work with for-profit organizations, it's a fair question. We have things in our statute specifically because schools contract with for-profit organizations. It's not prohibited. It's acknowledged and it's okay. But I think we're comparing apples and oranges if we're saying this happened in Idaho Falls a few years ago, so therefore it's going to happen here because it's a different, it's a kind of a totally different program.
Questions or comments?
I didn't know if there was more presentations to come. It's time for us.
Yeah, so are you finished?
Yep.
Okay. Yes, please.
Promotion. I move to approve the application for Trailhead Virtual Academy for a 6-year term effective July 1st, 2026 with the following conditions. A Trailhead shall submit quarterly enrollment reports to the commission. The Trailhead shall submit its regular quarterly financials to the commission that include a balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow. C, Trailhead shall make a presentation to the commission covering enrollment, finances, and student performance at the conclusion of the first year of school operations. D, or other commission developed conditions.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion?
Chairman,
Please.
can I raise an issue?
Yes.
I think D needs to be flushed out if we do have other conditions. I believe that's why we have that in there. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So maybe we don't have any other.
Let's shorten my
All right.
motion to not include D.
Okay, is the second okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, we okay. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. We have a motion and a second for approval with the conditions. Any further discussion?
I would just like to thank you for coming back, and I appreciate the thorough explanations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed?
No.
Okay, thank you. All right, motion passes. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
We'll look forward to seeing you.
I care for that, you know, it's just in a roll there. You met when I read that. Well, I was looking at it. I was like, all right,
We can throw anything in there we want.
my son every night, I just, what are you putting in front of me?
Okay, consideration of the school application director. I'll start this off for us, please.
The new charter school application for Riverton Classical Academy was initially received on September 22nd, 2025. The IPCSC staff collaborated with the school to provide feedback and develop the final application and evaluation on November 27th, 2025. The final application is available as attachment 5A in your board packets. The school intends to operate in Hebron, Idaho, beginning fall 2027. It is recommended that approval be subject to conditions for a 6-year term, under Idaho Code 33-5205-7, Section A. It is recommended that approval be subject to a condition to ensure that the school can meet its financial requirements, in particular including that the charter holder provides the IPCSC evidence that all grants, loans, and contracts that are part of that year 1 budget are signed or otherwise delivered by June 1st, 2027.
Okay, thank you. All right. Riverton, welcome. We appreciate you being here. Thank you. Hello. Various theme group. So, if you'd like to introduce yourself, we'll just go right down the line, if you would, please.
Sure. My name is Mark Plasnick. I'm the board chair.
Justine Ettinger, board member.
Sage Dixon, board member.
John Bassetti, board secretary.
Ryan Schwabach, board member.
Stacy Saylor, board treasurer.
Great. Well, thank you again. We appreciate it. And we'll let you go ahead if you have a presentation you'd like to make for us. We appreciate it.
We do. Yeah. Assume it's on there. There we go. Perfect. So Chairman Reed and Commissioners, thank you for your time this morning to consider our charter for Riverton Classical Academy, proposed to open the fall of 2027 in Hebron. Riverton's campus is to be built centrally located near the freeway in Haver, serve students from all over Mini-Cassia area, numerous local communities. We're excited to present Riverton Classical Academy to you, which will benefit the local communities where education options are attended. With me today are the full board as well as ACSI's leadership and also Mr. Seeley, the Riverton principal. American Classical Schools of Idaho serves as an overarching governance organization. Our board of directors provides strategic direction, ensures compliance with charter performance certificate standards, and promotes the long-term success of ACSI. Board is dedicated to upholding our mission, vision, culture, and ethos. The school office plays a pivotal role in ensuring the smooth operation of our federation, providing essential support, guidance, and resources. Each local charter school operates as a standalone LEA with autonomy and flexibility while sharing a common vision. This federated approach empowers schools to tailor themselves to meet the unique needs of their communities. I'll pass it to Mrs. Edgar.
The mission of Riverton Classical Academy is to train the minds and improve the hearts of the students through a classical, content-rich curriculum that emphasizes virtuous living, traditional learning, and civic responsibility. The vision of Riverton Classical Academy is to form future citizens who uphold the ideals of our country's founding and promote the continuation of our American experiment through a classical, great books curriculum designed to engage students in the highest matters and the deepest questions of truth, justice, virtue, and beauty. The name Riverton and the logo have significance in the local area. Riverton is the original name of the city of Hebron, and Riverton will be built in centrally located Hebron to serve students from all over the Mini-Cassia area. The torch symbolizes three main objectives in Riverton's mission and vision, which were just reviewed. Education from two Latin roots. Educare, to lead forth, and educare, to train, to nourish, to bring up. The mountains, fields, and river represent the Mini-Cassia area. They are much of what makes a wonderful place to live, work, and play. Riverton began as a local effort, founded by those who love the community and want to see it flourish. The 6 sides of Riverton's logo represents the 6 core virtues to be taught and instilled in students at Riverton: courage, courtesy, honesty, perseverance, self-government, and service. Next, I'll give it to Mr. Piscini.
Thank you, Mrs. Eddington. Cornerstone of our educational philosophy is a broad-based curriculum rooted in the liberal arts and sciences. This approach equips our students with essential skills and knowledge needed to thrive as human beings and citizens. Our curriculum is rigorous and engaging, with a strong emphasis on mathematics, science, literature, and history. It follows the Hillsdale College K-12 scope and sequence, ensuring our students receive a content-rich education. We delve deep into the Western and American traditions, exploring history, literature, philosophy, and fine arts. It is this rich cultural heritage that fosters a strong sense of identity, civic responsibility, and a deep appreciation for the human experience. Our curriculum includes explicit instruction in phonics, grammar, and writing. Mathematics is taught with an emphasis on conceptual understanding via the Singapore Mathematics Dimension sequence. The study of Latin is a requirement in grades 6 through 8, with 4 years of either Latin or a modern foreign language at the high school level. Our approach to pedagogy acknowledges objective standards of correctness, logic, beauty, waviness, and truth. Beyond academic excellence, we prioritize the development of virtuous character. Our curriculum is rooted in 6 core virtues, which were referenced earlier. Those include courage, courtesy, honesty, perseverance, self-government, and service. By fostering these virtues, we aim to cultivate well-rounded individuals who are prepared to make a positive impact on our nation. We believe that a strong moral compass, coupled with a love of learning, is essential for success. I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Schwab.
Yes.
Yeah.
So next slide is the overview of the facility plan. Riverton's facility will be located just off the freeway in Hebron, Idaho, and is central to the local communities in our primary attendance zone. The land for the school was generously donated by the Price family. This donation is valued at over $500,000 and is crucial as we build out the financial requirements for this facility. The facility is planned for approximately 50,000 square feet. It will have 30 classrooms with additional common space. Riverton is similar in structure and scope to Idaho Nova's Classical Academy and Valor Classical Academy, in that the developer donated the land to similar build and financial stack. Hebron's Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council are aware of this project and has strong support from the local municipalities and the broader communities. At full capacity, this school will be able to accommodate up to 702 students K through 12, and our intents to enroll demonstrate a strong demand. This is a simple visualization of the school on the overall property. The white area is the building footprint and shows the potential layout. The remaining part of the land, beyond what is pictured, will incorporate family housing, light commercial, green space, and a park. The city has been gracious in engaging with the school regarding utilities in a site plan to mitigate friction points and expenses for building the school. The objective is to share utility installation costs with prospective developers on the remaining parcel. The site provides adequate room for both the school as well as internal school traffic circulation, parking, bus, and car drop-offs in outdoor spaces. Through collaboration between Riverton and Bloom, school leadership receives support, resources, and training to create a financial plan. The Riverton financial plan emphasizes a prudent and conservative approach. Key aspects of this plan include budgeting for fewer students than the maximum capacity at open, 418 students enrollments versus 432, the maximum, and a projected 4% increase in cost per square foot compared to Valor Classical Academy. That equates to $330 anticipated for Riverton versus $317 per foot for Valor. Additionally, the plan assumes no changes in the current interest rate environment and will benefit any rate reduction without relying on them. Together with the Bloom financial team, ACSI, and Riverton leadership, we are developing a financial structure for constructing the Riverton facility. This includes incorporating capital from several sources, thus minimizing the loan amount from the primary lender and reducing overall interest payments. I'm going to pass this on to Mrs. Saylor.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to talk about attendance and demand, or attendance area and demand. We currently have 700 students signed up through our intent to enroll for the maximum 432 seats in year one, with over 1 year still to go before the lottery. The Riverton leadership team is actively working on a strategic campaign aimed at increasing general awareness and interest. In collaboration with ACSI, Riverton is also raising funds to support this campaign and generate awareness and interest in reaching potential families. Our efforts will focus within the proposed primary attendance zone, and the campaign includes social media, school website enhancements, flyers and signage, leveraging our currently engaged families, traditional marketing, door-to-door campaigns, community events, and virtual and in-person information sessions. We are also partnering with local organizations targeting outreach specifically to underserved and Latino communities. There are currently no public charter school options in this part of the state. Demand is high and growing for a charter option in this area. The primary attendance zone includes a large portion of both, and pardon me if I mispronounce these, I'm not an Idaho native, Minidoka and Cassia counties. The lines show our primary attendance zone on the map, the red line. Our intent to enroll stretch across a diverse range of neighborhoods and communities. Riverton will be located just northeast of the center of the paths, and the boundary lines of the paths follow roads where available. The paths allows us to focus on key population centers, Burley, Rupert, Declo, Hayburn, and Paul. Busing will be available to all students within the paths, with consideration given for the time students will spend on a bus. The dots represent an aggregate of our current intents to enroll. Over 90% of intents to enroll are within our primary attendance zone and within 10 miles of the school. As we refine our enrollment strategies and school plans, we anticipate this percentage of intent to enroll applications will grow even higher within the primary attendance zone. Recruitment is focused on the area within the paths. And with that, I will pass it to Mr. Dixon. Literally.
Thank you, Mrs. Sailor. I have an assistant, lovely assistant here. So please go ahead and change the slide. Once more. All right, this is our school leadership flow chart here before you. And maybe you remember, I'm sure you've seen this before with us, but the board provides the strategic oversight, ensuring that each school aligns with the mission of ACSI. The principals oversee daily operations within each school and specifically academics. Our assistant principals provide essential support for other operations within each school. And this organizational structure is the same for all our schools. So it's mirroring each other. Riverton is doing with we do up in Nika and also out in CUNA there. So go ahead and change our key partners. We're grateful for the ongoing support of our key partners who share our vision for a high quality classical education within Idaho. Bloom is instrumental in guiding our development and ensuring our success. The Albertson Family Foundation's generous support makes it possible to bring our vision to life in a sustainable manner. Building Hope is a capable facility partner helping us in our facility planning and construction process. And the Charter School Growth Fund is a strategic partner that provides sound planning and growth assistance to ACSI and all of our schools. And then our ongoing affiliation with Hillsdale K-12 Education's program provides access to a proven classical curriculum and a network throughout the nation of like-minded schools. So in conclusion, Riverton Classical Academy will be providing additional school choice for the Mini-Cashmere region. There's large demand in the region for the school choice in this type of school, as you heard before, and also the community is very supportive, and we have motivated partners to help make this school a success. So, Mr. Chairman, Madam Director also, and Commissioners, thank you. This concludes our presentation.
Appreciate that. Thank you. You all won. Commissioner Henry.
Mr. Chairman, a couple of questions for you. I read through your application, and most of the comments, there were 11 comments by the staff, and most of them were financial questions. Whether you were going to, for instance, lease or purchase buses, whether you were going to get the 1.6 million from the Albertsons Foundation. You did clarify that the break even is 432. Is that right? No?
No, my name is Scott Hartog. I'm the Chief Growth Officer for ACSI. Our break-even point for the school is 391 students. We're estimating 418 conservatively, and we can have a max of 432 students K through 6.
Okay. You have advertising costs, other revenue, and then you have a backup plan. Two questions. Do you move money between the 4 schools that exist now if this school needed additional revenue?
Is there Dixon or who?
I would take that and say no. They're each operating as their own LEA. Do not transfer money between them.
Okay. Have you resolved the issue with the farm lease and the ground that you are going to build on?
With that, I'm gonna ask Mr. Seeley if he could.
Yeah, my name is Matt Seeley. I'm the founding principal of Riverton Classical Academy. And we've been in negotiations for over a year with the Bryce family who donated the land. We are in constant communication with Bryce's, and
we've asked them about the lease that they have with the farmer.
Right.
And there's no long-term agreement with that farmer, and there's no problem with ending that lease in time for the school to be built.
Okay, thank you. This is kind of an observation, but I'd like an explanation. I recognize you have a board that now is going to operate 5 schools. I'm big about local control. I read through and didn't come away understanding whether the local committee, or whatever you're calling it, has some real significant input to the operation of the school.
Yeah, I'll take a shot at answering that first. When we start a new school, our model is to add a board member from that local community. We don't have a board member yet. We're searching for that community member. One of the places we search is the founding group itself, but we also rely on the principal to help, principal and all of our networking to vet new candidates. Once we have that member that is truly representing that community on our board, the board participates in the mission support team, an organization, a committee that is run by the school leader and has a board member on it, as well as parents on it, as well as teachers on it. And that committee is key to ensuring, kind of pulling all that together and operating the school, getting feedback directly to the principal, who is the ultimate authority of that LEA, and we expect it from the school. So we do feel like the board, we will have a board member there present on that committee, and that committee does have power to help shape that school for the community.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate the questions.
Chairman?
Yes, please.
Question for whoever can speak best to the process of gathering 700 intent to enroll applications.
If I can repeat that, 700
intent to enroll applications.
Again,
So we launched an intent to enroll application online in November of 2023. At that time, we had a kickoff event at the Wilson Theater in Rupert, Idaho, one of the communities our enrollees would come from. And we immediately following that event, we jumped quickly to around 200 intents to enroll. We've been gathering intents to enroll online from our community members ever since, and we've hit 700 this month.
Sure.
Please.
Can you talk a little bit more about this Hispanic outreach?
We recently onboarded a member of our community who is Spanish speaking, part of the Hispanic community, onto our founding group. We've done a couple presentations with Head Start, with the local community council. We have a good relationship with them, and we've had events planned, and then specifically inviting the Hispanic community to come learn about the school. We quickly learned that we need to go to them. So we have gone to English classes at community council. They've given us their schedule, and we plan to keep attending those. So we have it, and we also have specific areas when we've analyzed the geography of our intents to enroll, specific areas of Rupert and Burley and Havering that we will target in our marketing in the coming year, so that we can up the intents to enroll from our Hispanic community. In the area, we have about 40% Hispanic, and we want that demographic to be reflected in the population of our school.
Thank you. Thank you.
If I may, we also have a connection to the Hispanic Convention that can help with that relationship, to strengthen the outreach into that community as well. And so that's a recent development that I know of that they don't, but I wanted to put that out there because that will help with the relationship and build the efforts there, provide that opportunity.
Yes.
Just a follow-up comment that just in my observation, there is a dearth of opportunities in that area. So good to see someone working toward bringing options to that population.
Commissioner, you
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I saw this statistic and I'm not sure where I saw it, but I think it mentioned something along the lines of approximately a third of Idaho students are enrolled now in a classical educational experience. And that got me to thinking, well, how do we define what that is? And so I'm curious, I would assume there's maybe different flavors of classical education. Can you help me understand what classical education, I mean, I can read it here, but you know, what is your flavor and how is it maybe potentially different than, you know, when you're hearing it, you know, it sort of seems like this term has become really popular in the last, you know, just few years. And, you know, I would assume everybody's kind of like, well, we're classical. You know, so what's your flavor and how would you define it and how maybe you're different than maybe something that students could get elsewhere?
We're lucky enough to have an expert with us today on the classical education, our CEO of IPCSC, Steve.
Chairman Reed, Commissioner Otto, my name is Steve Meyer, I'm the CEO of American Classical Schools of Idaho. It's a great question. There's a lot of flavor in the classical community, and there's certainly a renaissance in classical education nationwide. Broadly speaking, there's sort of English finishing school, highbrow classical. That's not who we are. And then there's sort of the classical thoughts that surrounded the American founding, the enduring foundations of the Western tradition, the understanding of what human anthropology is, and the necessity to actually form human beings to become good citizens. I think one of my favorite paraphrasings of the American founding is Jefferson, who said that farmers that have read Homer make great citizens. That's the flavor that we're trying to cultivate. So what are the twin pillars truly of a classical education? They are the training of the mind and the improving of the heart. So in order to form a human being, the foundation of that construction project, if you will, is the building of good character. Nothing can happen without it. On top of that foundation of good character, we erect the superstructure of knowledge, the knowledge that is quintessential to becoming an American citizen. E.D. Hirsch at the University of Virginia says that the average graduating 12th grade senior in America must command about an 80,000 word working vocabulary about what it means to be an American. And that seems more essential now than it has almost ever been. And so our curriculum embodies all of that and more. And then the last part of sort of how do you form and shape human beings so they're prepared to flourish is to discuss what it means to live life well, to be a good human being. The very top of that is happiness. Happiness in an ancient understanding, which is felicitas, the joy of living. And so we form a well-rounded human being that is really ready for anything, that commands herself or himself, that understands their relationship to the community, and that stands on strong character and a rich background knowledge, and then they can go do anything. That's my short version of the answer to that.
Expecting he has much longer.
I think so.
Another question, but
Please.
completely unrelated. Curious about the enrollment. This Hagerman and Burley area is not my neck of the woods, but I think it's fairly small if I'm familiar enough. And you mentioned 710 enroll. Just curious, you know, what is the universe of students in? I think it was sort of a 10-mile radius from campus there, you know, and obviously there's a lot of people that might indicate, hey, I'm interested in it, but you know, likelihood is, I don't know what the likelihood is. You know, so I'm just curious, you know, what the expectation is, you know, in the real actual students that are in that universe and are expected to come. And I certainly appreciate the Commissioner Barrett's indication need more opportunities in this area, but just, I don't know what that student universe looks like in that area.
I can address that. I come from public education in the districts around there. I spent 27 years in the Cache County School District as a teacher and administrator. So the short answer to your question, as far as student population in those districts, Cache County has about 5,500 students district-wide K-12. Minidoka is around 5,000. And then we have a number of intents to enroll who have listed as homeschoolers. Approximately 15% of our intents to enroll. And so we see that as a pretty big large population of potential students, especially for year one to fill 432 seats. And ultimately, 700 is less than 10% of the district populations, not counting the homeschoolers. That clarify that, or in the population, the rough populations in the area, Burley's about 12,000. Paul is 1,800. Hebron about 3,700, and Rupert about 6,000. Population is those, and then the county population is on top of that. Those are just in city limit populations. Thank you.
Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the new charter application for Riverton Classical Academy for a 6-year term effective July 1st, 2027. With following one condition: the charter lender holder provides the Idaho Public Charter School Commission evidence that all grants, loans, contracts that are part of that year one budget are signed or otherwise delivered June 1st, 2027.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Got a couple of questions for you when we get done. But now we got the motion, we'll move on. Okay, Commissioner Paulus.
Yes.
Any question or discussion on the motion?
No, but thank you very much for your presentation.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Go classically get them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We just increased that from a third. Gonna be able to 30.
Okay. Consideration of amendment form to the performance certificate for Richard McKenna, Charter School Director.
Okay, Richard McKenna. Charter School is seeking an amendment to the performance certificate that would allow the school to both add grades 7 and 8 to the online program and increase enrollment across all programs from 1,200 to 2,000 students, with 1,688 students allotted for the online program. Richard McKenna's current performance certificate can be found at that link in your packet. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, welcome. Thank you. It's like we got your sidekicks and a wound with you there. Yeah.
Christmas present for grandkids.
Okay, introduce yourselves and please go ahead.
Dennis Wilson, Executive Director.
John Woodham, the principal of the online program.
William Lamb, Board Chair.
Great.
So we do have a slide presentation for you. If I can figure this out. There it is. Pushing. There we go. Right, so we're here today for, we think is a very simple request. We have plenty of information to provide for you to help you with that decision process. But before we get started, I just want to send some kudos out to one of your staff members, Jared. I don't think he gets thanked enough. It's great working with him. We can rely on him to get answers for us or challenge our questions as we challenge his questions. We have a great relationship with him. So I just want you guys to know that he is a good employee, hardworking, and we appreciate what he does for us. Richard McKenna will. Of course, it worked until we got here. Is it a PDF? There we go. Yeah, we just will give you a little brief history of Richard McKenna since there's so many new commissioners. We actually started in 2001, being authorized by the Mountain Home School District. Worked with them for a little while. And in 2004, those who were there at the time came before the commission to be authorized by the Charter Commission and also to be authorized pretty much as a K-12 on-site program and a 9-12 virtual program. So switch the authorization over to your responsibilities. And that's where we've been sent. So we're one of the first virtual charter schools in the state. Actually, our history tells us we were the first virtual school in the Northwest. So we've been around for a while. We've learned a lot of things. And we keep improving, never stop improving. Big discussion I think we're going to have over at the state legislatures this year is virtual schools and third-party vendors. We do not have a third-party vendor. We are an Idaho school created by Idaho educators for Idaho students. So everything we receive, we use in our programs. So we think that's very important to be able to support our students and our staff and their mission to provide a solid education for our students. So we go next. Oh, there we go. Whoops. I guess I pressed it. All right, so we're gonna focus on the virtual program, the 9-12 virtual program. Serves students right now, grades 9 through 12. The way we're set up really serves the students' needs. It's very flexible for them. We have students who are involved with athletics, who compete nationally in rodeos, wrestling. We actually last year had a senior who graduated as a national champion in wrestling. And people who perform in the performing arts. Those who have schedules that do not fit into a traditional school. Students who are frustrated with the traditional school system come look for us as well. Military families come look for us because the way we're set up, it meets their need to get the education with the schedule that they have. We've seen that been very successful for them. We're going to try again. There we go. Our structure is really simple. We're a project-based learning program. All our secondary schools are project-based learning. The way we're set up is we have a continuous enrollment. Every Monday, new students can enroll and get into the classes. So there's no waiting like in traditional schools. If you leave in mid-semester, you basically have to wait till the next semester in order to start earning credits. Once they enroll into our program, they can start earning credits right away. There's 2 classes that they enroll for a 6-week period. So every 6 weeks we have classes. They enroll in 2. And once they're done with those 2, they roll into the next 2 and keep going. It's also set up if they're really eager to get through it, they can move along faster. Typically we see if somebody's going to move faster, and maybe a week we can have early, so it's not that much time, but it's set up for the students. Also, it's asynchronous. It just meets their schedule. And it allows them to just be very flexible. Our teachers are very flexible with them as well. Okay, so I'll turn over to Mr. Wood because he'll get in all the nitty gritties about why we're here.
This one.
Yeah, I think it's that.
So for us, the point that we like to say is that asynchronous doesn't mean alone. On the last slide, we indicated that we have 43% of our students roughly are at risk. Another 35% meet one qualifier for at risk, but aren't the legal definition of at risk. So, we have a broad range of students there, and they require a lot of support. And so we assemble a small team. Any student might have up to 5 or 6 adults who they interact with every week for different needs that they might have. And these are just some of the programs of support that we have, from math and language boost courses to a SOAR program that helps them learn executive function skills like scheduling and maintaining due dates and stuff like that. We have learning coaches who sit with them and do side-by-side work. And a lot of those are for our students on IEPs and 504s. And sometimes we just put kids with learning coaches who need somebody to sit there and nag to keep working and help them make their goals for getting stuff done. And so while it is asynchronous in terms of their classes, there's a lot of personal one-on-one support. A lot of teachers tell me that when they come to us from traditional systems, they actually know their students better than they did in the on-site environment. So we'll go to the next slide. And we have a real student here, our board chair, who is willing to talk about his experience.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman Reed, and Commissioners, for the opportunity to be here today. Just again, for the record, my name is William Lamb, and I'm the current chairman of the board for Richard McKenna Charter Schools. I want to briefly share why this school means so much to me. In the early 2000s, at the age of 13, I began working in the IT field. That early experience eventually led me to become the contracted IT vendor for the Mountain Home Public Library. A few years later, in 2005, I graduated from the Richard McKenna online program, an opportunity that allowed me to complete my high school education on my own schedule while gaining real on-the-job training. Because of that flexibility, I was able to build a career early. By 2016, I was appointed library director for the Mountain Home Public Library, and today I serve on the management team for the Idaho Commission for Libraries. I can say with absolute honesty, none of this would have been possible without Richard McKenna's online program. The teachers, staff, and program design opened doors for me that changed the trajectory of my life. For that, I will be forever grateful. Now, to why we're here today. Richard McKenna is growing, and we need your support to continue that momentum. Our board, administration, and staff have been intentional and responsible in planning for the growth. We always keep student learning at the center of every decision that we do. We have an outstanding team, and we are fully united in our support of expanding into an online junior high program so that even more students across Idaho can access the same opportunities that helped shape my own life. I want to thank you for your time and consideration of this important step forward for our students and the state. And with that, I would like to introduce one of our other students, Jack, with the video of. So.
Like this PDF. Oh, okay, the PDF. So
It's a PDF, not the PowerPoint, so.
You use one of the class. Right. Well, that's okay. So this is one of our graduates, Jack, who struggled with his traditional school environment. And we just took some video of some kids at graduation this last year telling us what they liked about our school. And if you wanted to watch that video, we're proud of a lot of these kids. A lot of them might not have been graduates in their original plan. This year so far, we've actually had 22 graduates. We graduate kids every week. I sign diplomas every Monday. And 2 of those kids were class of 2023 graduates. So they were knocking on the door turning 21 years old. Another 5 are class of 25, so this year's graduates, or last year's graduates. So they didn't quite graduate on time, but they're there now. And I really want to thank the commission for their work on the alternative framework that you guys developed and for incorporating schools in that discussion, because we shine with some of those kids who don't quite make the traditional graduation date. But we keep them. We actually had 100% of our students who did not graduate come back in the fall to continue working. And so that framework helps us shine, and it's something that we focus on and do really well. We chase those kids down at the end of summer and say, come back, we got 3 more classes, let's get it done. And then 15 of those graduates are actually early grads that are supposed to graduate this year. So we'll go to the next slide. So we pulled some of our map data. These are the percentiles of growth on the NWA map test. So students that stay with us for a year, they outperform the nation's average in growth. So we do struggle with proficiency. A lot of our students don't come to us until they're a junior or senior, but the growth rates that we see, we have a 91st percentile of growth in math for our alternative kids. So they're making a lot of progress, even if they're not going to reach that proficiency level. Because you know, a lot of them are juniors when they come to us. That's our biggest grade level is juniors. So we are making progress with the kids. The next slide. So why are we here? And a couple years ago, we were given some conditions which we had met, but one of those conditions was placed on us as virtual school. I think the commission generally placed those conditions on all the virtual schools after the pandemic to limit enrollment because they were concerned about how do you operate and serve students if your enrollment explodes, which makes a lot of sense. So that condition was placed on us to 1,200 students. And when we look at our enrollment trends, if I can get the next slide. We are growing pretty steadily. We didn't see a spike during the pandemic. We stayed really steady for some reason. But in the last 3 years, we are starting each year right at or just above where we finished the previous year. And so we expect to see within sometime next year, we would hit our current capacity at this rate. And so we want to be prepared and not be in a situation where our students have to enter a wait list situation because of the law. Because our goal is to scoop those kids up when a precipitating event sends them to us and say, no, you can come get your starting education right now. Come to us, we'll get you going. And so we want to avoid that situation. One of the things I wanted to share with you guys is, next slide, the previous one, is how we scale with enrollment, because we actually have a program that we put in place when we first started that basically scaled salaries with funding in a lot of ways, because when we first opened 24 years ago, we paid teachers based on how many students they actually taught. And that was kind of the idea for keeping financially solvent. And we still have a remnant of that where we have our full-time teachers. And so each year we staff for our expected student load that we're going to have that year. And then we have a cadre of part-time teachers who will absorb overflows. And while they absorb overflows, they also make sure that our finances, move in the same ways as the student population does as well. And so that's a model that we use for them. And the other thing that we have is because we have students starting new classes every Monday, we can actually make sure that we place them in classes in a way that helps us keep our finances in order. We can make sure that they are spread out and distributed to teachers pretty evenly, and then start moving them to part-time teachers if they are pushing the full-time teachers' capacity loads. And so that's roughly how we scale with enrollment fluctuations, because our enrollment does fluctuate. It will change in any given year by 200 students from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So we kind of staff for what we expect near the end, to have that buffer with those part-time staff members. On the next slide, the other reason we're here is to just add grades 7 and 8. We operate grades 7 and 8 on site in our on-site programs, but we want to add them to the online program, frankly, because our parents have been asking for it. And when we surveyed our parents, we had 56% said they'll have a 7th or 8th grader in the next 3 years, and they are likely, or very likely, 92% to enroll them with us. So there's demand. They ask us to add those grades. And so we've looked at how we would do that. And so that's why we're here. So we anticipate that we could have up to 200 students in the next 2 years at a time, because there's maybe 300 over the next 3 years that will move through those 2 grade levels. We'll get the next slide. And the biggest reason they want a junior high, it's not just the flexibility, it's because they've had a good experience with us. And that made us really proud that they weren't just looking for convenience. They were like, no, this is a place that we like to have our kids in. And that was part of our survey as well there. And in terms of what would it look like, it would look essentially the same. We're not trying to do something different or from what we're already doing, we just want to add the grades. The one change that would happen is we would have those kids doing an hour of math and an hour of English every day. And then they would take their bigger block courses, like the high school does. That way they get a consistent and regular practice in their mathematics and language arts every day. And our next slide, please. So that's our request, is to allow us to add grades 7 and 8 into the online section, and then to increase the capacity to 2,000 students. That would allow for space for those junior high kids and prevent us from having to come back here in a year or two to ask for additional capacity. That's our request. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioners, questions, Commissioner Hendrick?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, congratulations on running this school and not hiring an educational management organization. I commend you for this. I think that's the way it always was intended to be, unfortunately. And if you read the media, you've seen in papers lately, that model of allowing somebody else to run everything is causing these problems. Transition, are you going to try and transition into the 8th grade? I mean, do you expect to have students sign up for 7th and 8th, or are you hoping they'll sign up for 7th and then transition into that 8th grade? How are you going to do that?
We were going to open up both at the same time.
You think you're going to get enough in the 8th grade to warrant that?
Based on our surveys,
Yeah. I'm kind of curious too about, you start a new class every Monday. How does that work for you?
It works great.
Well,
But what it really does is it allows the students with a defensive situation and they need to leave their current school. They can just jump right in. You can work with our registrars to set up a schedule, get going on that Monday. As a teacher side, I've been teaching a couple of Spanish classes online. And you know when the new kids come in because they're on week 1. And so you're dealing with students on week 1 or week 6. So you're monitoring your students, interacting with your students. So teachers are on top of that because it tells you exactly where they're at. And so you just work with that. But it's the flexibility, really, it's the flexibility for the student. So they don't have to wait to enroll or wait to start earning credit. So this allows them any reason except expulsion, they can't commit to that. But if they have a situation where they end up in a medical situation, let's say, and they're not gonna be able to finish at the traditional school, they can come to us. If you enroll in on it following Monday, you just keep going.
When you lose students, when they drop out of your virtual, do you track them? Do you know if they're going to another virtual school, back or brick and mortar school in the district, or do you know what happens to them?
Because if they go back to school, they're gonna request the records, transcripts and stuff. So that's how we identify that. If they drop out, we do try to find them. But like John said, this last year, 100% of them came back. So that was an easy track. So we wish every year was like that, where all of them would come back. Usually if they go back to school, to another charter school, we know that because they request the records.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, other questions? Commissioner?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This may be a question of school finance, and I'm just not as well versed on it, but is there anything preventing you from operating 365 days a year? Because you mentioned at a certain point, like they're done in the spring, they come back in the fall. Is there an ability for those students, especially if you get students who are trying to catch up on credits, et cetera, to continue during the summer, just basically work 52 weeks a year, or is that a relic of school funding that you can't get around?
It's mostly that, but we have summer school for those students who need it. So they come in and they can pick up some credits over summer for those who are behind in credits. So we provide that opportunity for them. But for some student who wants to get ahead, by that opportunity, because there is no funding from the state during that period of time.
Any other questions? Yes, please.
Just a comment, and again, I would just like to congratulate you and thank you for just creating something that truly does what is best for students. We often say we do what's best for students. Then when we look at it really closely, we're actually doing what's best for the adults or the system. And this truly is a model that appears to do what's best for kids, so thank you.
Well, you've been that way from the beginning. It's very good. Mr. Quinn.
My quotes too. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to allow Richard McKenna Charter School to add grades 7 and 8 to the online program and increase enrollment capacity across all programs to 2,000 schools.
Second that.
Okay, the motion is second. Any further discussion? Commissioner Paulus.
Thank you very much for your presentation. It was well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hold that congratulations for a moment. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice job. Very nice job. Okay, we have consideration of some unmet renewal conditions. We'll start with Blackfoot Charter Director.
In 2024, Blackfoot Charter was conditionally renewed with a 6-year operating contract. Conditions were established with deadlines. Should the school meet all conditions by the established deadlines, it may continue operating until its next renewal cycle. However, failure to meet any condition by the established deadline requires that the authorizer at its next public meeting consider whether revocation of the school's charter is warranted. There is a link to their current performance certificate in your board packets. The following conditions have been determined to be unmet. Condition 1, that Blackfoot Charter must achieve a minimum 2% year-over-year increase in math proficiency. Condition 2, Blackfoot Charter must achieve a minimum 2% year-over-year increase in math growth. Condition 3, Blackfoot Charter must achieve a minimum 2% year-over-year increase in English language arts proficiency. In condition 4, Blackfoot Charter must achieve a minimum 2% year-over-year increase in English language arts growth. The school did not demonstrate the required year-over-year increases in math or English language arts proficiency and growth. Their math proficiency declined from 28% to 23.3%. Their math growth declined from 44% to 39%. ELA proficiency was a slight increase from 36 to 37.8%, which remains within the approach's standard range. ELA growth decreased from 59% to 52.7%. We have the Blackfoot team joining us online today.
Okay, hello, welcome. If you would, whoever's going to participate, would like to introduce yourselves and you have some presentation.
Yes. Hello, I'm Ashley Bartosky. I'm the principal at Blackfoot Charter. I would like to excuse Mr. Gerard, our director. He is quite ill and very saddened that he's unable to attend today. He is happy to follow up with any questions or concerns that the commissioners may have once he's back to work. Thank you, Chair and Commissioners, for your time. I am happy and very nervous to be here. I would also like to mention that we have Janelle Hill from our school board and Steve Bailey, our business manager. They're also on the Zoom for any questions that you might need them to speak on. First, I'd like to thank the Commission for the opportunity to participate in the increased charter support program for the 2nd year. We have seen great things in year 1 and anticipate the same for this year. We also were able to join the capacity building program through the State Department this year and are seeing a great deal of support through that program as well. Would you like me to start with our presentation?
Yes, please.
Okay, do you guys have that pulled up?
Yes.
Thank you. We would like to talk a little bit about where we were, what we have done, and where we are now. So the first is, let's talk about where we were. These are some of the contributing factors that we have been working on to support academics and remediate our conditions. Academics, behavioral challenges, professional development needs, and the need for board guidance and PD. So what we have done, we are very aware that we are a work in progress, and we are currently working to improve building on the things that we started last year and make things even better. Some of the things that we have done and continue to build on include improving our literacy intervention system from last year. This system showed a lot of growth across all grade levels the last school year, so we continue to grow that program this year. I want to mention that we intentionally put more focus on reading last year, and this was something recommended to us as the appropriate start to address our needs by those who we were connected with through the increased charter support program. We understand and know that increased literacy increases scores in all content areas. This year, we expanded our math and literacy interventions to make them all school-wide, kindergarten through 8th grade. These interventions we call roundtable, and students move to the specific skill they need each day. This works as both an intervention and an enrichment depending on each student's needs. These groups are fluid, students are assessed frequently and move to a new skill group as needed. We value this time and protect it in our schedule. We all work hard together to prioritize and maximize our roundtable time. We have utilized research-based interventions that help meet students' needs the best we can. Additionally, we have added a Math Boosters course, which is required for students who have failed a course to aid with remediation in our middle school. Professional developments. We have gotten better at organizing and providing needed professional development to our staff. This year, staff have 11 professional developments based on behavior, academic intervention, school safety, and other needed topics. These trainings were chosen based on what staff, administration, and data have identified as our needs. This year, we also rolled out an attendance initiative, 7 days or less for school success. And we're working to partner with parents and families to improve attendance and ultimately help academics overall. When students aren't here, we can't educate them. This initiative focuses heavily on increased communication. We held a fun attendance field day as a kickoff event and sent out information to parents. We also gave each student a magnet with our school calendar, attendance tracker, and tips for parents to know when sick is too sick for school. We have increased our communication throughout the year as well with reminders when students are missing days through letters, parent phone calls, and parent meetings. So far, we have seen our average daily attendance increase. We have added a few behavioral interventionist paras to our team to help support with students with more severe needs. We have some internal systems that we're building and strengthening. We have realized that one person or one team doesn't keep things moving forward, but systems do. We have put in place several systems that help our school be successful, including strong teams, leadership, PBIS, RTI, sources, PLC, and stronger mentors. We prioritize observations, walkthroughs, and evaluations to see where our needs are and how we can help support our teachers. And we continue to tweak and improve our instructional practices and intervention program as needs arise. What growth have we seen so far? Kindergarten through 8 literacy. As expected, we saw our greatest successes at the lower levels of literacy. Overall, we saw a 20.5% increase in student proficiency from start of the year to end of the year, outpacing our comparison district and the state in rate of growth. We finished in May higher than our comparison district by 2.7%, which was the first time since the 1920 school year. Note the blue line, which represents Blackfoot Charter and its rate of increase. The current school year is showing great movement already as well, starting the year at 45% proficient and already up 15%. Our ELA ISAT, we did see a modest increase of 1.8% from year over year. We do see some positive trends. The graph on the slide is a comparison of Idaho, Blackfoot Charter, and District 55. Please note the rate of increase shown by the blue line. We are closing the difference at a high rate and are very close to our comparison district. We have seen a 9% reduction in the two lower tiers and the same 9% increase in the top proficiency tiers over the last two assessments, both showing positive trends, somewhat slower than we would have liked to see, but we have made changes to address this. Math ISAT. Early encouraging signs are that we have reduced the lower tier by 5% and increased our proficiency tiers by 4% over the last two state assessments. We have the most room for improvement here. We are very aware of it, and we agree that this movement needs to happen with more haste. There are some encouraging signs that things are starting to take hold, and we have built in a robust support and intervention program for our students, specifically focusing on math. Our plan. As noted in the previous slides, we have expanded and continue to work on our intervention program, continuing to improve and tweak it each year. Our Math Boosters course is the remedial math course that takes the place of an elective for students to regain credit and needed skills. We have improved benchmarking, changing some of our benchmarks to better show areas of weakness and how they are growing between benchmarks. Our RTI team meets more often. We're meeting every other week. We discuss student scores and their needs in great length, including plans to help them be more successful. Our PLCs meet weekly, and our capacity builder assigned to us from the state is specifically helping us in this area. I also want to include a quick note from Jody Togiai, our capacity builder, and this is a quote from her. I believe as a school, you are making the changes necessary and improving school processes along with tackling each area of need. I appreciate everyone's willingness to continue to improve and work as a team. I know with this drive and willingness to improve, you will reach your goal. I am excited to get this opportunity to work with such an amazing school. We have been very fortunate to have the opportunity to work with some of the amazing supportive educators and are excited to overcome the last of our hurdles in the near future. I thank you for your opportunity to present this, and if you have any questions, we are happy to answer what we can.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Your presentation. Questions? Commissioners? Please.
Chairman, I know that the state has worked with Blackfoot, and we have kind of, the last couple of years, recognized that they have some unique situations with their student population. Yeah, I have a difficult time wanting to throw in the towel at this point. I see under our motions that we would approve another 6 years or until 2030. But I'm frankly interested in giving them a 1-year opportunity and have the staff continue to work with them and find out if we can move these scores and achievements in math and English rather than just blanket closing the school, moving for revocation of their charter or approving, essentially a 5-year extension. Is that possible? A 1-year reevaluation of their credit and their scores and their efforts to improve.
So I was just looking at the statute, I had a feeling that was gonna be the question. I guess I would double check if it's really 2030. I don't know how long the initial time period was, but the way the statute is written, it's either you let them go forward or you start revocation proceedings. There's nothing in the statute that says you can impose conditions again, the way it's currently written.
Oh, if we approved, Mr. Chairman, if we approve the extension through 2030, can we still come back next June and see what their achievement is and whether we can proceed with that or move to revocation if there is no growth?
Yeah, Chairman and Commissioners, so the statute is silent on that, on your question. But there may be I'm not sure what the process is perhaps, maybe it can be done through process.
Well, yeah, I got it. Go ahead. Yes.
Chairman Reed, Commissioners, school's already approved until 2030.
Oh,
so these are conditions that were placed on them at the renewal in the 2024 hearing. So process wise, if you could waive the conditions this year and they would have to meet those conditions next year as well. These conditions will stay in place through 2030 unless the school meets standard on a certain condition for 2 years in a row. How it's written. So they'll be back. They do not meet the standard.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm saying it's more process than.
Yeah, it essentially just depends if you want to roll a snowball down a hill and how long you want to watch it roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, please.
Alternatively, on the other side of that coin, if there was a motion for revocation, to start revocation proceedings, is that a defined outcome, or is it also one where it could be those proceedings start and they can be stopped in the future?
Revocation is revocation. If it starts, then the school will close. Right?
The next, what you're basically, but if you vote to, if the motion is to start revocation proceedings, then it goes to a hearing officer to hear the case. So, yeah, you're starting the process.
Sure.
Please.
And once again, to the Office of Administrative Hearings, is that where it goes?
Yes. Now, they may say not to revoke and then it comes back to you, but there really isn't, if I understand your question correctly, there isn't a process to stop it other than the hearing officer's decision one way or the other that then comes back to you. If that makes sense.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the conditions remain. And next year we could be back in the same situation and seeing how the school has done. Correct?
Jared is nodding.
Okay.
There is something in here that says they report annually.
Yeah, the conditions will roll forward. That's what we want to do. I mean, their contract was set until 2030. As long as they continue to meet the conditions. So you've got a year. Your look is at a year at a time.
Mr. Chairman, just in my experience with the university tangentially with school improvement programs, this school appears to be doing the things that seem to be best practices from my experience. And I would be inclined to allow time to see how these interventions continue for another year, to give them the time to have a longer time and the effectiveness of it.
So it indicates that they needed to achieve a minimum 2%. What did they achieve?
It's good.
That's why I was asking. Yes, please.
So we're looking at declining performance rather than any type of increase. I also want to acknowledge that this is based on ISAP, which is one test, one day, and is arguably not a favorable measure of student performance, really, in very many ways. I also want to ask about enrollment. I'm not sure who can best address that, but can you tell us about your enrollment over the last couple of years or maybe 3 years?
Yes, we have grown and continue to grow. However, because we are a school of choice, we don't get to really pick and choose how we grow. And we get a lot of students mid-year that are transitioning from other schools that they were having issues at. And so we are working with the population we have. We are currently at, I believe, 460 students.
Yes.
So how have you grown? What was your enrollment end of year, May enrollment for the last 3 years? What's your trend?
I believe we grew over 30 students from last year. The previous year, much more than that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I got a question for Janelle, their board chair. From a board perspective, are you gonna be able to improve these scores and the academic achievement? Janelle? Did you hear that?
You're muted. You'll need to unmute. No, she's frozen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hi, Commission. Yes, we are fully focused as a board on improving the student achievement scores. We have been heavily focused on that since it was, since we moved into the new building, since we started establishing our new process and what it looks like. And we, as a board, completed the Gem State governance last year with ISBA, and that really honed our unified vision and mission that we're excited to implement going forward. And we've prioritized making sure that our budget monies go where we can most impact our student scores, which has been through new curriculum as well as intervention models that have been brought to us for approval. And we've been able to help supply the staff needs to help integrate these intervention models into the levels, hopefully across the board is our goal, to have intervention staff for everybody as needed.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I understand the comment about the testing. That's what we have.
It is all we have.
Yeah, and all the schools are judged accordingly, all the same. So I think we have, my opinion is that's what we have. That's our ruler.
It is,
Yeah.
whether we like it or not.
Right. And I agree with that. But it,
Chairman.
I don't know, in math, when everything's declining. It's a.
It is a concern. I would need to see the numbers again. It looked like the IRI increased. the ISAT has all declined, but the IRI is the K3 measure. Chairman Reed, I have a question about the possible commission actions. Number one is if we take no action and allow the school to continue operations until the next evaluation in 2030, that doesn't remove them coming back to us next year if the conditions aren't met. Is that correct? I think that's what Jared said.
Conditions are written year over year, so they have to be out year until it needs to have 2 years in a row, and then that condition goes away. They'll be rolling every year duration.
Thanks, Jared.
It seems to me like we have to be careful with that. You're not having with the way this is written, because it says to continue operations until the next evaluation on June 30th, 2030.
Chairman and Commissioners, I recommend a motion. If you're gonna go down this path, but if you wanna change the language, you could say a motion to take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue until, and Jared might need to have help with this language, until the next renewal period in 2026. Would that make sense?
Well, the next renewal period is 2030.
So there is another,
Well, renewal period, when you perform, we just don't know, but we, next annual. So
Annual report.
yes, maybe that annual report. If I
Annual
need
report is the right language, maybe, Jared, is that?
That's question. Someone's table.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
Are these are there any other conditions, or are these the only 4 conditions on the school?
Directors.
Commissioners, there are 5 conditions, the 4 you're looking at is not met. There is one more, number 5, that condition for literacy.
Sorry. The condition on literacy.
Number 5 was a condition on the IRI, and they did meet that one, is that correct?
They did meet that condition.
Chairman Reed?
Yes.
I don't know if this is the right time for this comment, but it would be helpful if in the future we could see the conditions that were met and the conditions that are.
Any other questions, comments, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue operation until the next annual report.
Okay. Motion is second. Any other discussion? Commissioner Wallace,
I agree.
any questions?
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it's, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't make a comment, it's just. I struggle with this one, I think we're all struggling with it in that, sometimes it's difficult to move, I hate to use the analogy, any analogy, but move, turn a ship, in the process and make improvements in a year is not very long to see, improvements in a school, but I also, fearful of, and some duty to protect students and protect the investment from the state, in ensuring that things are operating correctly, and I don't want to kick the can down the road forever. And so I hate to put, more pressure on the individuals from the school, because I do agree with Commissioner Quinn and Commissioner Bear, I think mentioned, they're doing the things that we're asking them to do. They're doing the things that show that they're being proactive and focused on improvement and trying to focus on student needs. But, I also, we need to see improvement in scores improving, even if they're not always the best at, assessment tool that we have in the toolkit. So I want to support the motion, but I do have concerns that we need to eventually see the ship going in the right direction. So thank you and really wish them good luck.
Well, you can be doing all the right things and not accomplish what you need to be doing. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so I have a motion to take no action until the next annual renewal to look at it again, or annual report, thank you. Definitely renewals that I might now. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Blackwood.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Inspire.
In 2023, Inspire Academic Incorporated was conditionally renewed with a 5-year operating contract. Conditions were established related to Inspire's alternative education program, Empower Connections Academy, with deadlines. Should the school meet all conditions by the established deadlines, it may continue operating until its next renewal cycle. However, failure to meet any condition by the established deadline requires that the authorizer at its next public meeting consider whether revocation of the school's charter is warranted. There's a link to their performance certificate in your packet. The following conditions have been determined unmet. Condition 1, Inspire's alternative education program, Empower Connections Academy, must achieve a meet standard rating on the math proficiency measure of the Commission's performance framework in fiscal year 2025, excuse me. Since the corresponding data will be evaluated on or before November 15th, the date of which the condition must be met is November 15th. Inspire scored 10% below the meet standard mark on this measure in fiscal year 2022. The math proficiency measure is defined in the performance framework and shall be incorporated into Inspire's 2023 through 2028 performance certificate. The school's alternative program, Empower Connections Academy, was required to achieve a meet standard rating on the math proficiency measure by fiscal year 2025. However, the current results remain below that threshold. Their current math proficiency is at 13.6% and rates as approaches standard, approximately 2.4% below the meet standard benchmark established in the Commission's performance framework.
Okay, hello, thanks for coming. So if you'd like to give us your name and position for the record, then go ahead with your comments.
Becky Valentine, board chair.
Keenan McAllister, Inspire Connections Academy school leader.
Clifton Cook Jones, Empower School Administrator.
Okay, please.
All right, Chairman Reed, Director of our Commissioners. First of all, it's very neat to be here. I've only watched these from YouTube, and although it's not fun, the reason being here is it's very neat. I will provide just a very brief introduction to the school and to our model. In the 2019-2020 school year, Power Connections Academy opened up just in response to the need of our Inspire Connections Academy, which opened in 2005. Our students had to meet at least 3 at-risk qualifiers to enroll in Power Connections Academy. And most, if not all of our students meet these 3 individual ones, which they're all behind in credits. They're all are chronic non-attendance, and they all have repeated multiple grade levels. So why do our students choose Empower? We believe that our Empower team focuses on building strong, positive relationships, life coaching, mentoring, and targeted intervention supports for each student. Students can earn credits in 1 to 2 compacted courses per 4 to 5 week sessions. There are 8 sessions for the school year. Sorry, we got a slideshow. Got a slideshow. So in 2023, Inspire Connections Academy was conditionally renewed. The unmet condition was that Empower must achieve a meet standard rating on the math ISAT. Although that was not met, Empower Connections Academy, our 2025 performance report,
will show that we achieved math and ELA achievement and growth, progress towards graduation rate, and post-secondary readiness. Cook Jones, our school administrator, will talk about the identified factors that led to the program not meeting the condition for ISAT math performance and how they empower staff and school plan to continue addressing these factors and concerns.
Right, good morning. Thank you for having us this morning. We're going to look at a few things today. I'm going to start by looking at the contributing factors, which are more or less the student population that we serve and what we see as things that we need to address that also contribute to them really struggling on assessments like the ISAT. As a team, we broke these factors into 3 areas of concern. The first being math readiness at the start of the school year that they were tested. The second being the students' math progression within the school year. And the third, just test preparation at the school level. So we'll start by looking at cohort progress. This is the group of students that took the ISAT last spring. We look at how that group of students did in 11th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade. And we don't have to look too closely at the details, but what we see as a team is certainly this group of students has struggled for a long time. Really small down there at the corner, but what we see is an increasing skill deficit starting with the 7th grade assessment, which would have been 2022 for this group of students. 8th grade, we see that group of students at that level 1 range increasing year over year. And that's not surprising. These are our students that are seeking out an alternative school because they qualify for the school and they need support to continue their education. These students come to us with a lot of deficits and we work hard to address those deficits. Additionally, looking at this group of students, we see a high mobility rate. 50% of the students that tested last school year were new to our program. So for whatever reason, whether they came from another virtual school or traditional school, another alternative school, they were new to Empower Connections Academy. For this and future charts, I'll use the coloring scheme that we see in the ISAT reports. Red, level 1, yellow, level 2, 3 is that proficiency level, green, and then blue for level. And so 50% of our students were brand new to our school, and just over 25% of our students were students that had returned for us. Similarly, of those students that were new to our school, looking at their mobility just overall, since starting high school, those students have attended 2.4 schools on average. All right, so the next thing we look at is the students' math progress entering the school. And, big picture, these students are credit deficient. That's one reason they choose to attend an alternative school. 16% of the students that we tested last year started the school year with no math credit, no high school math credit. So just thinking about that ISAT, the testing blueprint, the targets that those students have to meet, typically students need to be through geometry B to be successful on that test, or to have the best chance of success on that test. So 16% of students started with no high school math credit last year. 76% of our tested students last year needed at least 1 year more of math to be fully prepared for the ISAT. And then just that little group, that 5% of students, they were ready to go to start the school year. They came to Empower, they came to their 11th grade school year with all content covered. They earned credit up through geometry B. So that was at the start of the year. And then where did these students, this cohort of students, end up by the time we tested them at the beginning of April? So looking at credit attainment on March 31st, we moved the kids forward. We probably didn't move them forward enough in terms of what content they had covered. So if you look at the start of the year, kids had made it through, the biggest group of kids had made it through Algebra 1B. That shifted forward to Geometry A. So we were progressing, we were getting the students closer to where they needed to be, still have work to do. So by the test, by the end of March, we were at 13% of students who covered all necessary content. One of the unique things about Empower Connections Academy that Kenny alluded to is that we, sounds like Richard McKenna as well, we use short sessions with just a few classes, give students frequent success. We want those students to not have to slog through a semester and then fail a class. We want every month, if possible, for that student to earn a credit, progress towards graduation. We have 8 of those sessions within the school year. This is the course placement throughout the year. The orange classes are algebra classes, and blue classes are geometry, just to give you an idea of the variety of situations that students are in at our school. Likewise, I mentioned earlier that we tested in late March, early April. It was after our 6th session. We had a lot of kids that were still taking geometry B later. They took it in April and May. And a lot of kids also took it over the summer, which is the category. All right. Another contributing factor that as a team we have worked on for the last couple of years, but we need to do better, is just overall test preparation for our students. As noted, these kids aren't getting through the content necessary to be successful on these tests. The only, in a perfect world, we get them where they need to be. They'd be ready to go for the test. But that being said, what we can do is to provide better test preparation. As a team, we know we need to do that. We do still run into the conflict, which is our number one goal as a school to help these kids graduate, which means we need to help them get back on track and earn credits. That is in conflict to preparing for state tests, or at the very least, they're not necessarily aligned goals, at least from the student's perspective. We have used various formative assessments and benchmark assessments, kind of track student progress. Last year, we did use the shortened interim assessment from the state just to get a better idea of where these students were at. Not a lot of utility came from that test itself. If you're not familiar with the shortened interim assessment, it's mostly the content of the CAT portion of the state test doesn't have a performance task. And students, especially struggling students, when we get to the state test, it's that performance task where they really struggle, where they have to write, right? Like, and they have to analyze situations, that sort of thing. We also had an environmental, just over the last 3 years, an environmental and platform mismatch for a virtual school with virtual students that are used to learning in their homes. Prior to last year, we had to test all these kids face to face, and that's tough. You pull a kid out of their home, they have whatever's going on in their life, and suddenly they're in a new environment. It's different. Last year, the state piloted a remote testing. They had a remote testing pilot for virtual schools, and we did participate in that. About 2/3 of the Empower students did participate in that. We're going to increase that number this year. All right, so what are we doing now to support these students? We'll look at instructional strategies and targeted intervention. We'll start with, we're going to look at that math progression piece, talk about test preparation, and finally intervention. So before, on the left, that's last school year, that group of students, just again, squint your eyes and kind of look. Classes were all over the place. Geometry B for a lot of students wasn't happening until late in the year. Too far. This year, we've shifted that. We're trying to get more students through more math content by state tests. So we have shifted it more to the first half of the school year. Looking a little bit more closer, we're also going to test these students later within the year. We have that option since it'll be remote testing. For our Empower students, for alternative students, we will test them after the majority of those students have completed Geometry B, which will be late April for most students. Working hard on the test preparation piece. It's the type of thing that teachers struggle with. They don't necessarily want to do because it's just like, I want to teach, I like the content, etc. We are increasing student exposure to release ISAT questions, examples of which would include building in assessments to our curriculum that are release ISAT problems, like giving students, all right, we just learned about this, here's the performance task that aligns with that. Let's see how you do, let's expose you to the content, make sure that you know what the expectations are when you answer this sort of question. We're also doing some more targeted test preparation outside of student coursework. The closer we get to testing, we will, for lack of a better term, we'll do a boot camp or a blitz to give this group of kids more exposure to the content they need, and not just mathematics, but language arts and science as well, to make sure that they have recent exposure to test taking skills and the content that will be on the test. Sorry, got ahead of myself. The final piece is that, as Kenny mentioned, our school is built on really one-to-one intervention for these students. We have a small cohort, about 160 students. And the students' needs are so varied that we find ourselves, for the most part, being very reactive and helping the students where they're at and making sure that they get the support they need to meet that core goal, which is to earn credits and move forward in high school. So, for example, the teacher would reach out to a student and say, you're really struggling to get through Algebra 1B. We need you to get through this so you can get to that sort of thing. And they provide that one-on-one support. For our 150 to 160 students through December 1st or November 30th, 330 individual sessions to support those students, 1,200 phone calls, which would include support for those students, and then nearly 2,000 group support sessions for our kids. So, as Kenny noted, we still have this unmet condition. We see this as a but, right? We are addressing the underlying issues while maintaining our focus on frequent student success because we find that so important to our program. We are providing more support and intervention opportunities that target test preparation. And finally, we're confident that assessed proficiency will continue to improve. Don't know why I left the graph off, but I do like celebrating where we can celebrate. When we came before y'all in November of 2023, we were 10% below the proficiency standard, the meet standard on the annual report. We were at 0, right? Like 10% suggests that we had some proficiency. We didn't have any. And now we're, I think, I wrote it down, 2.4% below the standard. Our proficiency has increased from 0 to 2 years ago to 13.6% in May of last year. I believe we're going in the right direction with Power, that we are serving students of Idaho and getting them where, helping them achieve. We still have work to do to get them where they need to be to demonstrate proficiency on the state assessment. We thank you for your time and open to any questions you might have.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Commissioners, questions? Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So when this charter performance certificate was approved, in the interim, we have changes to alternative framework. Would these, and I'm trying to remember the differences and what those apply, but those would be, would we have approached this differently if we had the alternative framework and the conditions would look different? I hope you know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Getting at.
Exactly.
So it's Jerry.
No, we have the alternative framework, which is separate. This particular condition, alternative schools are still going to the traditional framework, and that's where mathematicians comes. So regardless of what the alternative framework looks like, this condition will be altered. That makes sense.
Thank you. I have to get you to your computer. Yes, please.
Just a couple of comments. First of all, I appreciate the context that you went from 0% proficient. When?
November 2023. Well, it would have been May of 2023.
13.6% proficient in May of 2020. So I appreciate that context. And then this is just in curiosity. Do you have any anecdotal observations of how many students that are at risk, which is what you deal with, that simply step out, earn a GED, and then go on to a certificate or an associate, some kind of a go-on rate that doesn't count for a go-on because of that?
It's interesting. We don't. There is. I don't remember the organization we partnered with. We do have analysis like a 1-step, which is once they graduate from us, what do they do? We don't have that 2-step. Once they drop out, what do they do after that? Or once they go get a GED, something like that. So that would be very interesting, but we don't have that.
Other questions, issues?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I'll move that we take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue to operate until the next annual report period. Based on the fact that they are improving.
Okay. There's a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, comments, Commissioner Paulus?
No, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, good luck. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next one. So, Montessori Charter School Director.
In 2023, Monticello Montessori Charter School was conditionally renewed with a 5-year operating contract. Conditions were established with deadlines. Should the school meet all conditions by the established deadlines, it may continue operating until its next renewal cycle. However, failure to meet any condition by the established deadline requires that the authorizer at its next public meeting consider whether revocation of the school's charter is warranted. There's a link to their performance certificate. The following conditions have been determined, to be unmet. Condition 5, the school must achieve a meet standard rating on the literacy proficiency measure of the Commission's performance framework of fiscal year 2025. Since the corresponding data will be evaluated on or before November 15th, 2025, the date by which this condition must be met is November 15th, 2025. Monticello did not meet the standard on the literacy proficiency measure in any operational year over the course of this performance certificate term. The literacy measure is defined in the performance framework and shall be incorporated into Monticello Montessori's 2023-2028 performance certificate. So the literacy condition remains unmet. The current IRI result shows 47.3% in the fall, 56.3% in the spring, maintaining a does not meet rating. Despite incremental improvement, performance remains below the meets standard threshold required by condition 5. We have the Monticello team joining us remotely today.
Hey, hello. You're muted.
There we go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jeannie Johnson, the school administrator, and I have with me Linda Hawley, our board chair, Shauna Nunez, our board clerk, and Rod Rapp, our instructional coach. And thank you for taking the time. Rod will be doing our presentation.
As we have looked through our performance data on the IRI, we have very carefully and consciously made a data-driven decision to be able to address our area of deficiency, and we've been able to find our target audience of students that we are going to focus on, and we've actually been focusing on as we have been in school this year. Being a school of choice, of course, we do inherit a lot of students who come to our school after having not necessarily been successful in other schools, or maybe who have not necessarily felt safe in other schools. And so we have grown quite a bit. And I'd like to share with you. Excuse me?
Okay, you froze up there for a minute.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Okay. I was saying that being a school of choice, we do inherit several students who have come to us from other schools where they maybe have not been successful or where they may not have necessarily felt safe. So we've had quite a bit of growth. So I'm going to share a statistic with you as we have gone through our data that helped us determine what our target audience would need to be and what we need to do in order to remediate our deficiency in the IRI proficiency level. Our total population, of course, reached 56% proficient on the IRI. As we looked at all of our students, the students that we have that are returning students that we've been able to have in the school for at least 2 years, 81% of them have scored proficient on the IRI. The students that we are adding to the school who have moved in, only 7% have been proficient. Therefore, we realize that our target audience needs to be those students because we've got to make a concentrated effort in order to remediate them quickly and get them caught up with whatever deficits they have when they arrive. So we have partnered with the State Department SMART project, which is based on the speech to print strategies of Dr. Louisa Moats, and it is based on the science of reading. And all of our teachers are being trained and they work monthly with a SMART coach provided by the SMART project. Her name is Catherine Reinhardt. She works with about 7 or 8 different schools, and she does training with us through book studies and in services with the teachers. She also comes into the building and does model lessons in each of the classrooms and works with the teachers to help them implement the SMART Project Science of Reading strategies that are designed to target specific skills that emerging readers need. And so I'd like to share with you 3 of the strategies that we are implementing on a daily basis in our classrooms, not only in our core instruction, but also in our Title I and special education programs. These 3 strategies are the ones that research shows are the most effective with emerging readers in grades K through 3. The first one is the Vowel Valley, which is a fascinating strategy. All of the research with speech to print has taught us that we are naturally wired for speech. No one teaches us how to speak, but we have to learn how to read. And so the Vowel Valley is a way to introduce both in the curriculum, but also in a visual way, how students can map a pathway in their own brain from the speech center of the brain to the print side. And so all of the vowels and the vowel teams are arranged in a special arrangement on the wall in the classrooms that looks like a valley in the shape of a V. And it actually is designed by what shape our mouth makes when we make that certain sound. And so at the bottom of the valley, our mouth is wide open. At the top of the valley, or at the top of the ravine on either side, our mouth is smaller. And so the students will speak the sound. They will look in a mirror and see the formation of their mouth, and then they match it with the same picture of a student who is making that same uh, position with their mouth. They will trace that up onto the wall where they see the letters that match that sound. Therefore, we're taking what we are normally wired to do and then creating that pathway so that we can see what it looks like in print. It's very interesting. I was working in a classroom not too long ago, and a little girl didn't happen to have her mirror, and she also was turned away from where the vowel valley was. And as she started to sound out a word, she reached up and touched her lips, and then she said, "Oh, I know what I'm making. That needs a double O." So it's very interesting to see how powerful that strategy is. Another one that we're implementing in grades K through 3 is predictive spelling. Catherine is working with us to teach us the patterns of spelling because traditionally people have thought that English was very, very difficult because we have so many different spellings. However, when we look very carefully at how the English language is actually structured, there are predictive spellings and there are certain strategies that teachers can use with students to help them realize which certain spelling goes with each word. And it's fascinating to see how students are able to map that into memory by just understanding what those predictive patterns might be. The third is we are spending a lot of time on orthography with these 3 areas: word origins, letter positions, and um, meaningful segments of letters. Um, Again, this is all based on the science of reading, where the students, when they learn a word origin or what positions the letters might be in, they are more capable of being able to use their word attack skills to be able to understand how to pronounce the word and how to use it correctly in context. So with that, we're now in the 2nd year of SMART. And so the teachers have had 1 full year of in-service, and in the core instruction in the classroom, they're using it every single day. We are also using it every day in our small group instruction in Title I and in special education. And then in order to address our target audience of the students who are still behind that we are inheriting as move-in students, we have determined that we need to give them yet again a triple dose of the science of reading instruction. And so we have developed a schedule where some of them might get that in a Title I setting, some of them might get that in what we call our win time, which is what I need. Within the classroom, we have trained all of our paraprofessionals in how to use the 3 strategies that I shared in the previous slide, so that when students are within the classroom, they have someone who could work with them one-on-one on those strategies. And we are going to be using 2 sources of progress monitoring to determine and track the progress of those students. We are regularly using DIBELS. The reason we have decided we need to use 2 sources of progress monitoring is because we do have some concerns with some of the bugs that are in the new Amira testing system, which of course has replaced iStation reading. I'm not sure if you're aware, but because Amira was new, the state allowed schools to take the benchmark in October rather than September because the students needed to get used to the new platform, which was wonderful to have that extra time to get used to how the test looks and to be able to be prepared for it. But it did throw off the norms that Amira had set, which were based on September rather than October. So Amira has been working on that. And we've had quite a bit of fluctuation with some of the scores. And so we've been a little bit concerned about whether the data is going to be reliable enough. And so we wanted to have 2 measures of progress monitoring so that we can really track what kind of progress we are making. We've been in contact with Amira, and they have assured us that when we take the January benchmark, that the issues with the norming will be resolved. And so we feel comfortable that our data between January and May will be a little more reliable, but we still want to have 2 sources of progress monitoring just to make sure that we are doing what we need to do. I do want to share with you a couple of screenshots of what we've dealt with because of the norming issue in Amira. This is a classroom report that shows the students' benchmark scores from October. The blue would be those who are above grade level. The white would show those that are on grade level. And it kind of looks purple on this screen, but it's really red, which show those that are at risk. And you will notice that we have students that have scores that are lower than the red that it is showing as being proficient. And again, this has all been because of the renorming issue that Amira has had. I would like to show you 2 specifics using these 2 scores right here. The student who scored 383 compared to the student who scored 363. This shows this student in the 10th percentile, and it shows the student with the lower score in the 97th percentile. Yet it shows both of them still in the red, and yet it says that they are low risk. So you can see why we're a little bit concerned with the beginning of the year data that we have. So we're looking forward to the January benchmark when the norming the norming problem has been resolved. So we're going to keep a careful watch on that, and that is also why we want to have a second measure using the DIBELS so that we can really track the progress that our students are making. Then we also want to mention that we do have other support. We're working with the Charter Support Group with Mary, who has been wonderful for us. She's given us many great ideas and some great support. And we do have 3 main goals for this year. We want to improve our ELA scores, we want to improve our math scores, And we definitely need to build onto our school because we're running out of room. We've grown significantly and we need the room. And so we want to work on finding a way that we can find the financing to be able to build onto our school. Any questions?
Commissioners?
Miss,
Mr. Quinn?
I see that this is, like a fifth condition, so were there 5 conditions and the first 4 were done?
The other conditions, Jared.
Right. Correct. The school has previously met academic conditions for math proficiency. That was met in FY 23, as well as ELA proficiency. They met that in FY 23 as well. Financial conditions, the schools did not meet their condition in FY 23 for financial default. They concluded that I don't remember the situation with the IRS, but they have met financial conditions in the 2 years since then. They are more conditioned with the finances next year as well. So really it's just the IRI after that initial met all.
Thank you.
Jared. Other questions? Motion. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I move we take no action to the unmet renewal condition and allow the school to continue to operate till the next annual reporting period.
Okay, is there a second?
Not that.
Yeah, motion is a second. Any other discussion? Commissioner Lisa?
Nope.
Okay. All right, anything else, commissioners? Yeah, motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
East Valley Director. Welcome back.
And you must still see the applicants. I don't want to bring out everything.
In 2023, Peace Valley Charter School was conditionally renewed with a 5-year operating contract. Conditions were established with deadlines. Should the school meet all conditions by the established deadlines, it may continue operating till its next renewal cycle. However, failure to meet any condition by the established deadline requires that the authorizer at its next public meeting consider whether revocation of the school's charter is warranted. There's a link to their performance certificate in your packets. The following conditions have been determined to be unmet. Condition 6, Peace Valley Charter School must achieve a meet standard rating on the English language arts proficiency measure of the Commission's performance framework of fiscal year 2025. Since the corresponding data will be evaluated on or before November 15th, 2025, the date by which this condition must be met is November 15th, 2025. Peace Valley Charter School did not meet standard on the English language arts proficiency measure in any operational year over the course of its performance certificate term. The English language arts proficiency measure is defined in the performance framework and shall be incorporated into Peace Valley Charter School's 2023 to 2028 performance certificate. Then we have also condition 7. Peace Valley Charter School must achieve a meet standard rating on the math proficiency measure of the Commission's performance framework in fiscal year 2025. Since the corresponding data will be evaluated on or before November 15th, 2025, the date by which this condition must be met is November 15th, 2025. Peace Valley Charter School did not meet standard on the math proficiency measure in any operational year over the course of its performance certificate term. The math proficiency measure is defined in the performance framework and shall be incorporated into Peace Valley Charter School's 2023-2028 performance certificate. The school has not yet achieved a meet standards rating in English language arts or math proficiency as required by conditions 6 and 7. ELA proficiency is currently at 43.6% and remains below meet standard and continues to rate as does not meet standard for condition 6. Math proficiency, the current proficiency is at 27.5%, remains below the meet standard threshold, and continues to rate as a does not meet standard for condition 7.
Okay, hey, Jared. Why don't you help us out with conditions 1 through 5 to start with?
Chairman, Reed, Commissioners, prior conditions for this performance certificate tournament Peace Valley had were in November of 2023, Peace Valley must achieve a meet standard rating on the debt service coverage ratio. They did meet that condition. So in June 1st of 2024, Peace Valley had a condition to achieve full accreditation through the State Board of Education's Improved School through COGNIA. That was not met. They did not meet it at that time. So that condition was waived by the commission. November 15th of 2024, Peace Valley was required to achieve meet standard rating on total margin, cash flow, financial compliance, and debt to asset ratio of the financial framework. That condition was waived. They did not meet that condition initially. Also due November 15th of 2024, Peace Valley must achieve meet standard rating on all operational measures of the performance framework. They did meet that condition. So we must center on all operational measures. Also due November 15th of 2024, they're required to have a meet standard rating on the IRI, the literacy proficiency measure. They did not meet that condition. That condition was waived. And then the 2 remaining conditions we will discuss.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, would you like to go ahead? We need to have you introduce yourself so we get your name on the record and your position.
Chairman, Commissioner, Director, I am Sita Jung, I'm the school director.
I'm Michael Pinkerton, I'm the board chair.
I'm Gigi Murphy, I'm the business manager.
And I'm Mary Beth Flashcard, and I provide technical.
I'm sorry.
I'm Mary Beth Flashcard, and I provide technical assistance in literacy and school improvement.
So, yeah.
Hi, everyone. I wanted to first thank the commission. We are here today because the commission has been willing to give us a chance to succeed. What I have learned through these meetings is that the commission and the commissioners want charter schools to succeed, and you want our school to be successful because you care about our students. I know that we did not meet our academic conditions. It was only last year in the 24-25 school year that we got the correct reader for our school. It was also in that year that we were offered an amazing opportunity for help and support from the commission through the increased charter program. Our school leader, Sita, despite being a first-time principal, has done so much using the support to move our school in the right direction. We're showing positive results, but we are not there yet. Sita will begin her presentation shortly. She's going to explain first where we were academically over the past few years and why. Then she will discuss what was done in the first year of her administration to address these problems, and we'll go over the impacts on our student academic outcomes in that first year. She will move on to discuss what she has done this year, which is
only her second year, and then we'll discuss our academic outcomes so far, highlighting some of our longstanding teachers' achievements. I also wanted to assure you all of our board's ongoing commitment to improving our academic outcomes. Last year, we completed trainings in finance, academics, and superintendent evaluation. This year, we are focusing solely on academics and have started an intensive training with Phil Gore centered around the board's role in academic achievement. I just signed on, as did our vice chair, who's here in the audience along with our board secretary. I just signed on for another 4 years of board service with the school, and we are in it for the long haul. Our board is fully committed and behind CETA's efforts. Thank you.
Chairman, Commissioner. So I was with Peace Valley since the year one. Last year is my first year as an admin, and this is my second year. I'm here to tell you a story about Peace Valley, how a school given the chance and strengthened by transformational leadership and given the right support, it will turn around and will change in time. That as a first year admin, and in the past 2 years, I have 3 action and 1 new mindset that different than the past admin. If you look at our past academic achievement, our past admin think this is only technical issue that we can change around just by switch. But we all know that's not true. So the first thing I did is I identified the root cause, knowing that it needs to adapt and change. What does it mean? It means we need to learn a new mindset. It means we need to learn new skill and also new behavior. Therefore, the first action I did is we put the student in the center with the board, admin, teacher, and the parents. We are all here to support the whole child education, which including academic performance. Now, for the transformational leadership, the board and I will go through many trainings. And for the building instructional capacity, we build a tier 1, tier 3 curriculums and help support the students. For teachers, they going through many professional development and also instruction around with Dr. Mary Beth Butler. And for the students, now they receive science-based curriculum. And of course, parent buy-in and support. And here I'm very grateful for the commissioner and from the Increased Charter program that gave us in the past 2 years almost $200,000 to help support in our school. And here is our result last year. Just within a year, we increased 13% overall. Now, if you look at it, tier 1 increase, tier 2 and tier 3 decrease. 3 of our grade, nearly almost 50%, and 7th grade, we have 73% of success. And if you look at the year before, that most of our grade grow almost double. And it was highest in our Peace Valley history, is 44%. And our growth is 75%. If we comparison, of course, at that time, we have compared to the West Ada and the Boise School District, which they have 60,000 students and 12% of SPED, but we have 218% of SPED kids. And we are proposing a new, we are proposing a new comparison group that you can see we exceed our growth. And if you compare the state standard, we are doing really well on the growth, and we are closing the gap on the ELA performance. If you look at our math, we double it. And again, tier 1 increase, tier 2, tier 3 decrease. And for most of the grade, we double, and look at the 4th grade, they quadruple. And also it was the highest in our school history and 56% on the growth. Compared to other comparison group, we are growing. And if we have, I'm proposing a new comparison group, that means our growth will actually meeting the standard. Compared to the state, again, we are doing really well on the growth and we are closing the gap. If we put these three together compared to the last year's data, Peace Valley grows significantly. Now compared to the old state, Peace Valley is the blue, you will notice 3 of the 5 components we are doing better than the state standard. And if you compare to other school, you can still see Peace Valley, we are doing really great on the 3 of the other 5 comparison group. Now, plan for next year. Last year is my first management. I feel like I was building the airplane while I'm flying it. But this year, we are going to come with the right action. So what does that mean? There are 7 components to have the school-wide system literacy. I learned that from the SMART 2.0 leadership. Now, first one, we need to review the data. We start to review the data since summer, and we find our strength, our weakness, our opportunity, and our trend that we are going upward. And we have book study with Dr. Mary Foshbar and talk about universal literacy instruction. And for students, last year we didn't start the Tier 1 curriculum until for the lower grade until October, for the higher grade until February. This year we started on day 1. So the K to 8th grade receive science-based, evidence-based curriculum. And strengthening our teachers. They learn how to run a small group. K to 3 teacher join SMART 2.0 program. And we set our goal. So each grade, they know exactly what they need to do, how they are going to achieve. And for our board, of course, you know the board love going training with me. So they are going 7 sections with their board and learn how the board can improve the student outcome. Now for myself, I joined SMART 2.0, educator and the leadership. I was mentored by many of the mentors. Thanks for the Increased Channel program. And we strengthen our teachers' skill on instructional. So we do observations. Dr. Mary Beth Foshbar, there's a report in one of the booklets that within the 8 months, she see such a great difference in Peace Valley Charter School. And this is the feedback she gave us that our data is encouraging throughout the whole grade, not just kinder, but whole grade. And we're using the data analysis to make the right decision to be proactive. For example, our first grade, because the teacher resigned in October. So we look at the data. Well, what do we need to do? We need to do a whole push-in sit by November. So we're going to flip the number by January. And of course, we need a collaboration through all the Tier 1 to Tier 3. And of course, the parent and the community. We have parent community circle 9. Then for the whole school, right now, we're in the 55%. We grow just within the past couple months. And this year, based on our ISET income test, for the cohort group, last year 4 to 7, this year 5 to 8, we are on 57%. That means we are higher. And we, compared to last year's intern, we increased 19%. And this is the data from 5th to all the 8th grade. That you can see we are even growing a little bit more compared to the state, what they are doing. And I'm breaking down each grade. Now, you may wonder why fourth grade, last year fourth grade, and this year fifth grade teacher is the same person. Because Peace Valley, we believe teacher-student relationship, that mentorship is so important. So teacher actually move on with the same group of kids. Now, compared to last year, he have much stronger baseline. He's 52% now. Sixth grade, and this is growing. We have data within the past 4 months. That class, fifth grade, going from 54% to 65% on Amira testing. For our sixth grade, we also have a stronger, higher baseline, and going to 59% in the mirror. And not only we go stronger on tier 1, we also decrease tier 3 to 12%. For seventh grade, now they are also again stronger baseline. They're 58% on proficient, and based on mirror, they also growing with the past 4 months. Tier 1 grow 20%, tier 3 decrease 10%. Now, eighth grade, same teacher, by the way, I did teach that class for 6 years. Now that class have 89% proficiency. Now the data even in showing in a mirror that they are 90% proficiency. For our math, this year, last year, we adopted iReady in January. This year, again, we are going to have full year research-based curriculum start day 1. The teachers start their training in summer. Yes, I love professional development. And also, we are seeking math instructional coach. Obviously, they're very busy. I'm not number 5, but I will keep trying until I get an instructional coach for math. And we have diagnosis, so we know how to respond. And for first grade to fourth grade, we are strengthening their foundational number sense. For the higher grade, we know their weak link is on the conceptual understanding. So each grade know what exactly they need to do. Now, our goal is to increase 15 to 20% this year. And I usually, when I set the goal, I will reach it. And I know our ISET interim test data doesn't look so good, it's 26%. But if you remember our baseline last year, our highest achievement is 28%, but this year we start at 26%. So we know we are going to grow higher. And this is a comparison for ISET interim test and the state. You can see our school is stronger than a couple other grades. And based on the iReady data, from the beginning of the school year to middle of the school year, again, Mr. Johnson, he mastered it, he doubled his students. Now, sixth grade, we're showing growth. 7th, same. 8th grade, you can see our tier 3 decreased to 0. So most of the kids moving on 1 grade. And if you comparison our data from middle to the beginning, this is how much growth. Now, I know we are focused on academic achievement, but do we forget about what's world of education? Like I said last year, feel like it's pain. Now we are so good on the right hand, but we need practice on our left hand. But we are still, despite all the academic push, we are still doing more for our world of training. That the teachers, we are the first time we're doing world of in-house training for the whole week. They are learning songs, they are learning storytelling, that we stay low tech throughout the grade, that we're doing gardening, crafting. That's 8th grade, they are sewing project, pajamas, very cute. And we are making things by their hand. Also, we are celebrating differences. Teachers singing, students are singing, 3rd grade learn cooking, learn measurement by cooking, and doing art, after school curriculum, field trip, theater, hands-on activities, students not just learning something by reading, but they actually experience. With field trip, we have field trip, they see it, they paint it, they doing the project to present it. Same as when we learn the ancient celebration, and we also take our students for social emotional growth. And our community come together to celebrate festivals. I know, and I am not dropping the accreditation. I will achieve accreditation this April. That is our accreditation review day. Because they are very expensive. And we are rewriting our strategic planning. When Robin, and for our K-3 literacy, I want to show you last year, the first year we grew, but this year we start from 39% to 50% already. And this is how achievement that we got from K-3. So we didn't forget about K-3, and we are continuing. For our kindergarten, we have a bigger successful story, the mentor by Dr. Mary Beth and SMART program, that we added different program to make sure the students have play-based, but also the right instruction. This is our kindergarten. They reached 70% on the proficiency for all 2 of the grade. They have growth of 32% within 4 months. The last story I want to share is Miss Chauvin. She was also here since the very beginning. Now, by the way, she had the best classroom. If you look at her data, she take it almost every year, except last year. But this year, she's right now in November, she has reached 89%, or is our highest achievement. Now, see the pattern? Higher baseline, more growth. This is where our school is going. So, the last mindset I want to say is that we, in our school, that we understand that education should be like aquaculture, that we set in the right condition, given the right soil, and it will grow. Like I shared, that bamboo, in the beginning 4 years, they only grow 1 inch per year, but by the 5th year, it was shooting 90 feet within 6 weeks, and that is Peace Valley. And Peace Valley, the students, even in kindergarten, they learn. And I can say we have academic rigor. And what does it tell us? It tells us that Peace Valley, we can change. We can find the balance. And she's not the only one. 5th grade teacher, he was also with us since the beginning. 8th grade teacher, she's also with us in the very beginning. So several of the teachers that we have turned around, because in Peace Valley, we believe children learning by doing things. We believe that teacher is here to help the children see the world as a beautiful, good, and true place. That with the future generation, we all know how much AI grows. What is the thing that AI cannot replace mankind? Is creativity, imagination, and critical thinking. And that's what is Peace Valley trying to cultivate. Thank you, everyone.
Well, if there be an educational Shark Tank, you get.
That's how I feel every time.
Yeah. Nice job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Yeah, now go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah. This is for Michael. If you'll remember when you were before us a year ago, your whole board had left, and I expressed concern about the stability of the board, the number of board members, and how you were going to educate them. You tell me where we are with that a year later.
Yeah, so we have 5 board members currently. Myself and the vice chair, Jeff Zerbeck, is here. We both served the same amount of time. So we finished our 4-year terms and signed on again, another 4 years. Then we have two other board members, they're still here, our treasurer and secretary, our secretary's here, our treasurer was unable to make it. They are here, we added a new board member, but that was prior to that meeting, and he's still here as well. We feel like we have a good thing going with the board, good relationships in the board. We are increasingly knowledgeable, and we're not getting in CETA's way, as I know it's possible for a board to do by interfering and causing a problem. We're trying to learn what it is to hold a principal accountable without inserting ourselves too much as we're not education professionals.
So you have some stability.
So we do feel, yes, we do have some stability.
What was enrollment last year? What is enrollment this year?
We have a
Why don't you just tell us?
So last year, our number, our highest number is around 195. That is at the end, around 180 to 195. This year, our number is around 203 to 207. So we are growing a little bit, but we are staying stable.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, please.
You highlighted some of your staff that has longevity. Tell me about any staff turnover that you've had.
So some of the staff, they retired. And two of the staff actually retired last year, and we hire 5 new staff, actually 6 new staff. Now, that's why we're doing the in-house training for 5 days. We want to make sure, and every Thursday, we also have our own PLC training for the world of education. Now, 2 of the teachers, new teachers, they did resign during September and October due to not able to fulfill the improvement plan. So we hired another new teacher, and one of the retired teacher decided to pause on their PERC and returning. So I feel our staff is really strong this year, that they all love and enjoy world of education, and we have what they take on both sides.
And Chairman
Yes,
Rivalta,
please.
I was really pleased to see your commitment to Waldorf, even amongst the challenges. That's one of the biggest challenges there is Waldorf kind of conflicts with some traditional education philosophies. And reminding us and showing us of your commitment to the Waldorf while still making improvement is really admirable. Thank you.
Any questions, commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, please.
Michael, I remember having a conversation with you before and talking about that academic progress and the dedication to Waldorf and trying to address the issues that were there. And I compliment you, sir.
I think it's the first time we've had a school leader who truly understands Waldorf and also understands what it takes to have academic achievement. And I think previously, school leaders were on their back foot about Waldorf. They were kind of new to Waldorf. And they did not see that there was not such a conflict between these two things. And previously, there was there were a lot of other concerns that the school was trying to deal with, but there was not a consistent push. Any efforts for, we did STAR testing, we did things, but they didn't have staying power and longevity. And CETA is very different. Because of her background, she can she has a lot of standing with our teachers.
Chairman, I have to especially thanks for Dr. Flashbar, because we are trying very hard to try to find a balance on academic achievement. But she come in, she lead our school, she help us understanding what is the right path, what do we need to change around. That's why my staff, they has been asking me, where is our math mentor? I'm like, you guys is on this mentor, and she's like, we need mentor on the math because she see what the difference our school can change with the right direction.
Well, Michael, if you lose those two, you're gonna be back here with a problem.
And that's fair. I just want to thank Mary Beth too. I worked with her years ago when they started the capacity building program. And I'm so glad to know you came out of retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I just have to say, imagine trying to say no to Tina.
She had her full surgery.
She's here, but it was, I'd like to particularly highlight what I think they're learning. So commissioners, Vice Chair mentioned, asked about teacher turnover, and it's really hard to hire the right people. I don't, and as much as it's hard to let a teacher go or have them realize it's not a good fit in October, it's so much better than ignoring. But what, and in to some extent, like never waste a crisis. But with the team that worked all summer long on the data, they're also learning to problem solve. Like this is not the only time you're gonna have change in, like what are we gonna, how do we handle that? And so I think that they're really building capacity. I am really going to retire. And so, but I feel really good about the fact that it's an issue now, it's not a crisis. Like if something happens, you have enough distributed leadership. CETA is obviously amazing, but there are other leaders that sort of know the process of what do we do first, how do we come up with a plan. And their plan for first grade is somewhat non-traditional. Instead of pulling all the kids out, push in. But now they have 4 teachers in there to provide explicit direct instruction that is not in conflict or that allows the students then to benefit. So it's a temporary thing, but now they know how to do it and they've seen results, so they also know it can be done, that you can, you don't have to stick with something for a whole year to say, oh, well, so first grade. Anyway, it's a pleasure to work with them, and but I am
Yeah, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move we take no action on the 2 unmet result conditions that allow the school to continue to operate until the next annual reporting period.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, yes.
And we've been talking, have a little bit of concern about the new motion, and I was wondering if I could recommend an alternative.
Please.
Chairman and commissioners, and this is, you can modify this if you feel fit, but I believe the motion, but you'd keep the language that's already in the motion, but then you would add at the end, the written motion. And then at the end add, unless deficiencies are noted in the next annual report.
So motion to take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue operation unless.
Until the next evaluation of June 30th, 2028, unless deficiencies are noted in the next annual.
Change the motion to reflect that.
Okay, second is okay.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Palace. Any questions?
Nope, just a quick comment that I think she's doing a really lovely job there.
Okay. Yes.
These conditions are different than the law conditions that were made before. These conditions have a set date by which they must be evaluated. Not if they don't meet them, then they continue on. So they were used before the black and white model.
That's what we were discussing, it was, okay.
These have a specific date.
And that date is
November 15th. Not, your, I don't know, that changes what we just discussed.
That's what we call it, but-
So.
Okay, so that's what we, okay, so these would have to be, so it'd have to be the original motion without any changes. Cause you either don't waive them, you either act on the motions, act on the conditions today, or they're waived until the next renewal.
Or wait until the next renewal.
There's gonna be annual, there will be an
Wait until the next
Annual
renewal
report.
or the next annual report.
Any recording.
Because of the specific date.
Yeah. So that's the reason that we have
That's-
waived the other conditions.
Correct.
In-
Right.
Okay.
I'm lost.
Okay, so because of the specific date, it can't just roll into another year.
And the date was today.
November 15th.
November 15th. That's why in our last meeting with East Valley, the conditions were waived. They weren't just rolled over.
Okay.
So they would be waived until June 30th, 2028.
And you have the opportunity to about new conditions.
At that time, in 2028.
Okay.
So it would be so you'd have to either do this initial motion one, or you have to do two or three. You can't, that's my understanding, Jared, correct?
The initial motion one would actually do what we want it to do.
Well, would waive the conditions until 2028. But that's what you've been doing with East Valley anyway.
Yes.
Right.
That's what you've done at past meetings.
Yes.
Okay. Whatever the change needs to be,
Just
keep them working and us to continue to evaluate.
Yeah, your evaluation won't be until 20.
Gotcha.
Yeah, would you read motion one?
Yeah. I hereby move to take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue operations until the next evaluation period on June 30th, 2028.
Yeah,
Second.
second. Okay, any questions? We're doing.
Maybe a last question afterwards, but might as well. Hypothetically speaking, is it possible to waive this condition and then implement a new condition that says now I'll come back and?
No, it's a contract, it's a contract.
I think.
We get caught up in our own legalese, right?
That's why we have this model.
She was gonna get her way anyways. Okay, so we have a motion and a second, motion to take no action on the unmet renewal conditions and allow the school to continue until June 30th, 2028. Next evaluation. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Those opposed. Yeah. Thank you, commissioners. Appreciate you helping us work through this. Bye.
Yeah, that sounds like. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Are we okay?
We may have to reevaluate your motion. It should have been for Monica, it should have been the same.
So we need to resolve that now.
I don't think we can. I think we're.
I mean, that's kind of already done.
A year from now, about 5 times.
Okay. They're the ones that.
They decided to stop on Tuesday night.
Well, yeah, they're the ones that Rachel indicated at the beginning of the meeting that they're gonna close. They will close.
One voter Tuesday night to close. To start culture.
So
Here's the one.
Thank you.
I need you there.
Thank you.
Yeah, the public comment. Joy? Any public? Any online? Okay, so our next item is public comment. That at this point, we do not have any. Okay, commissioners, thank you so much for all your time. Appreciate your efforts today. Thank you. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Can I just make a quick comment to thank Rachel, because she's the one that carried the ball to get the capacity building program, the charter.
Yes.
So thank you.
Very good. Okay, meeting adjourned.
Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Merry.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.